So can I start now? Okay, Mr. President, Club President, District Officers, Distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and friends, a fabulous and awesome morning, afternoon, evening to our different Toastmasters from different parts of the world. Thank you for coming. Friends call me Hot Mama. I like reading to gain knowledge, singing to improve my vocal variety, and dancing to keep fit. I am Jennifer Lim, your Toastmasters of the evening, and I'm very honored. Let's then be hot, fiery, and fantastic tonight, shall we? Shall we? Yeah, shall we? Yes? Thank you. Well, I have just displayed my tone of voice, which is the theme of tonight's meeting. As our speakers, evaluators, appointment holders, members and friends took their precious time to attend this meeting tonight, shall we start by practicing to clap online so that they can feel the warm and rousing welcome from each one of you. Please switch on your video if it is off now. I can see quite a few of them are off. Can you switch on your video? Zoom Master, can you please help? Switch on those who have not switched on the video. Okay, this is how we clap online. When I introduce speaker or evaluator, this is how you welcome them. Okay? All right, so this is how you do it. Some of the actions for online meeting will be this, because you can't hear, so you give us this signal. And also thumbs up or this way to tell us that all is good. You can hear well, everything is fine. There are some house rules to abide with during this online meeting. During the speech, may I ask all of you to mute your microphone if you are not the one speaking, so as not to disrupt the speaker when he or she is speaking. Also, please switch off your video if you are not the speaker, so that it may not disrupt the bandwidth of Zoom. For the speakers and evaluators to take note, when you are speaking or evaluating, please switch on your screen. I think should be gallery view, gallery mode, and then pin the timer so that you can see the timing screen easily without having to search for her. On your screen, to teach you how to do it on your screen, you look for the timer, and when you see the timer, there's 3 dots on the right-hand side of her screen. Click that 3 dots, and then you can pin the timer, okay? Do you have any questions so far? All is good? Yes, thumbs up? All's good? Thank you. There are 3 main parts of our Toastmasters Club meeting. The first part will be the table topic session to challenge you to develop your impromptu communication skills. Members and guests are encouraged to volunteer for this segment, pick a topic from the table topics master, and practice thinking and speaking off the cuff. The second part will be the prepared speech session. We have 10 speakers who are presenting their speeches from either the pathways or the traditional manuals. The third part will be our speech evaluation and feedback segment, which is an important part of Toastmasters speech. To help us ensure that we speak within the allocated time is our timer. She is a mother of 2 awesome princesses and a wife of a very supportive husband. She is quite passionate about bringing purposeful change in the society. She's a passionate learner and always willing to learn from her past experiences and from others. Let's welcome DL2 Joan D'Souza. Joan, can you show yourself? Joan, let's welcome her by clapping this way.
Toastmasters the evening. Toastmasters the evening. Joan will not be here for the next 1.5 hours. I am taking over the timer role. This is Peter Ng, next to you at 0 timer, my name.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter. So Peter will step in for Joan for now. So you see Peter is a timer, so you know how to pin him.
Hello.
And sorry?
So I'm just waving to everybody.
All right. So we have an R counter today. One important aspect of Toastmasters training is learning to speak without all those ums and ahs and various pause fillers. Watching out for us in this area is our R counter. Commitment is the foundation of great accomplishments. He's a chartered member of our club. He is CCACB Pallavi Singh. Let's welcome him. Pallavi, somewhere. Thank you. Now, to commence the meeting, may I now ask the President, Distinguished Toastmaster Willie Low, to give us his opening address. Willie Low, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, District 80 Director Ernest Che, fellow and past and present district officer for all over the world, fellow Toastmaster. Your audience judge you for the moment you step up to speak. If you are dressed well and neat and clean, their initial impression of you will be positive. However, if your voice is crispy, your words are intelligent, or your voice too loud, your positive impression quickly will become negative. If you want to communicate efficiently and positive influence your audience, you must pay attention to your speaking voice. Your greatest tool as a speaker is your voice. Every time you address an audience, your mind, your body, and your voice act as a partner in your efforts to communicate with your listener. When you speak, your voice is the primary link between you and your listener. This is the medium of your message. Yet, most likely, the voice you are now using is not your best voice. You may have buried your ultimate speaking voice under layers of bad speech habits. However, you must find it and put it to work if you want to become a good speaker. An effective voice isn't necessary just for public speaking. A good controlled voice is accepted in every contact with others. Your voice mirror your personality with a language or equal a natural voice which projects quality, cultivation, and authority. Is a significant tool for a personal success. It can help you gain promotions, making sure winning the respect of others, and improving your social opportunities, as well as speaking efficiency, effectiveness to audience. When you speak, your voice reflects your psychology and emotional state of mind. You cannot hope to persuade or influence others or even get them to listen in a positive way if your goals are harsh and unfriendly. Such a voice can repel even when other speakers wishes to attract. The quality of a friendliness is a requirement for a good speaking voice. It's largely a matter of habits, as this is a friendly tone. Fellow Toastmaster, we have heard this. Many of us who have done the advanced menu, the old traditional program, your voice, your speaking voice, vocal variety. This came from the extract of one of the speaking menu for Toastmasters International, your speaking voice. That tells us that the voice in us reflects internally of how we communicate to others. Many of you who who not know me, you may understand that I may not speak efficiently like most of you because I have a speaking defect. But I'm back to Toastmaster to continue to learn to speak better, and why I go under the ninth one of these days. I don't know where, but it will be very soon. I take the first step to join Toastmasters Club in 2003 by overcome my fear and overcome my speaking defect. This is to some Toastmasters, they tell me that you take a very great, you take a very great courage to join a Toastmasters Club to improve your communication skill. I say yes. This is why today's topic is the tone of your voice. I remember the first time when my children are born, and we always use anchor, and our tone is very heavy. But among these few years after joining Toastmasters, my tone tend to go down to a firm way. Use the right words, but with a different tone instead of very angry mode. Although I'm still very firm in my writing to some of the Toastmasters who I be communicating every day. Communication start from the day you enter this world and the day you left this world. And the moment we wake up, the next moment, the first sound that we made already show us some message to other people or to yourself as well. So I hope tonight message, the speeches, the table topic, as well the evaluation, we can have some vocal variety that could inspire, to motivate, as well as to make this meeting a wonderful one. Over back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
So our next segment will be the table topics, which is one of the most exciting segments. To provide us with the challenge for today's table topic session is the secretary of this club. He is an IT project manager by profession, a person who enjoys traveling and doing volunteer work. He's also a polyglot, enjoys speaking 6 different languages, and passionately interested in other people and cultures. His favorite quote is, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will how you made them feel." I shall let him explain to you the what, why, and how of table topics, as well as the timing sequence. Let's warmly welcome our Table Topic Master, IP Proficient, TL2, Lim Chang Jin. Lim Chang Jin.
Hi. Fabulous Friday. District 80, Director Ernest, Club President, fellow Toastmaster, and distinguished guests. Welcome to SG Online Chapter Meeting. I'm a member of this club, SG Online Club, and Toa Payoh Central VPPR. Table topic. The first is to give everyone in the room an opportunity to speak, especially our guests from overseas. Second, please let people to learn to think and speak on their feet. Maybe you all will like to key in your name in the chat box if you want to volunteer for this so that I can select you all. I will share my screen now. Okay, the table topics timing will be like this. For the first minute, the green light will be shown. You all need to pin the timer over here, the green, which is showing in green color. 1.5 minutes, the color will turn to yellow. 2 minutes, it will turn to red. And 30 minutes, it will be gone. Next, I have 20 questions for you all to choose. Who will be the first one to volunteer, especially our guests from overseas? Choose a table topic 1 to 20. Choose a number. Shante, Scott, are you there? Scott? Scott, you have to mute yourself and choose a number. Can somebody help to unmute Scott?
Okay, yes,
Hi.
here I am.
Scott,
Hello.
your favorite number?
How about 12?
12.
Yes.
Okay. The question is, dream big, start small, but most of all start, by Simon Sinek. Dream big, start small, but most of all start. Over to you, Scott.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests tonight and morning, wherever everyone is from. Oftentimes we have dreams. Sometimes we would dream that we want to do something big, travel the world, or start a project, a creative project. But then it just stays as a dream, and that's it. If you want to dream big, you need to put these dreams into action. I'll give you an example. I wanted to go and visit South Korea for a long time. And it was just a dream, and then nothing ever happened. Then finally, I got tired of myself talking about it all the time and never doing anything. I had dreamed to go and visit, take a solo trip myself and go to Seoul by myself. Finally, last year, I took the plunge and did it. I booked the airplane ticket, booked the hotel, and I went. But in order for me to do this, I needed to take the first step. And the first step was to go on and book the ticket. I fulfilled my dream of visiting Seoul finally after many years. And it would not have happened if I didn't take one small step first. So, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, if you have a dream, if you want to do something, whatever it is you want to do, make sure that you just take the first step first, because otherwise you can dream big, but if you don't talk, if you don't walk the walk, then all you're doing is just talking the talk with no action and follow-up. Fellow Toastmasters, seize the moment. Take small steps to realize your dreams. Back to our table topics master.
Hi, thank you very much for sharing with us. Kamsahamnida. Thank you. Your lovely story of Korea. I love the country. So can we have the next volunteer, Dr. Muklis Ramon? Okay. Okay, I will unmute you.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, choose a table topic number.
10.
Number 10. If you judge people, you have no time to love them, by Mother Teresa. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. Over to you, Dr. Mulis.
Mother Teresa is one of the most admired person in the whole world. How many of you have heard about Mother Teresa? You can raise your hand or signal, but I hope everybody has heard about Mother Teresa. Mr. Topic Master, this is such an important quote because today's world, we are divided into countries, races, and languages. If we start judging, we lose the chance to love them. For me, love is the most powerful force on the universe. If you love them, you'll be able to reach into their heart, if not their mind. Mother Teresa showed by example of her whole life, helping the poor children in the slums of Calcutta. I hope all of us are inspired by her lifelong dedication. And still her sisters of Mother Teresa are helping children around the world, especially in times of needs and crisis like today. I hope we all volunteer a little bit of our time to help others. Others maybe becoming an officer of the Toastmasters Club, sharing your life story, inspiring us, motivating us. And that's the only reason I'm here this morning, to attend this meeting, to hear the stories, to be inspired and then get motivated to take actions. Yes, let's not judge people, just love them. Mr. Topic Master.
Hi, thank you very much, Dr. Mulis Raman from USA. My favorite quote from Mother Teresa is not how much you give, but how much love you put into giving. Especially in times like this, we need to show love to everyone. Next, can we have the next volunteer, Macron, from West Coast Toastmaster Club?
Hi, CJ. Good evening. It's nice to see you.
Which number do you like to pick, Macron?
Okay, CJ, I would like to try number 8.
Oh, my favorite number 8. In a gentle way, you can shake the world, Mahatma Gandhi. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. Over to you, Macron.
Thank you so much, CJ, and good evening and good day to all our Toastmasters and guests attending our meeting for today. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. I'm just trying to reflect what's happening right now globally. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought a lot of turbulence, not just in our daily routine, but also in our lives in general. However, and despite the circumstances that surrounds this pandemic, also provides the opportunity for us to take on some important roles, such as showing our love and concern to our families, to our friends, and to the greater humanity. And you don't need to actually do a lot of phenomenal things. I, for myself, have been volunteering back home in the Philippines to find hospital beds for our frontliners and hotel beds actually for our frontliners, so that those who are medical frontliners working in the hospitals don't need to shuttle back and forth from their houses that are very far from the hospitals. And you don't need to do grander things, because I feel that we are given our own capabilities to be able to help. And this situation provides us that right opportunity to also share with everyone that you don't need to be phenomenal to do phenomenal things. So Toastmasters and guests, no matter or wherever you are in the world right now, I think the COVID-19 pandemic should inspire us rather than rattle us. This situation should inspire us to do more good things, to educate the world that we can actually love and share and demonstrate our concern for each other. By allowing ourselves to give that opportunity, we are also changing the world one step at a time. Back to you, Toastmaster, Table Topics Master, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Macron, for the wonderful sharing. Next, we'll have Joanne from Singapore Online Club. Joanne D'Souza. Are you there, Joanne?
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. Pick your favorite number, Joanne.
11.
11. I never lose. I either win or learn, by Nelson Mandela. I never lose. I either win or learn. Over to you, Joanne.
I totally agree with this statement. I never lose. I either win or learn. President, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The whole reason for me to join Toastmasters Club was to learn from all you inspirational people. And I've never lost a moment in learning in this experience, because I've always encountered people who are so experienced, who have so many years of experience in Toastmasters Club. as well as in their past experiences, that each and every moment has been really joyous. And looking back at all my failures as well, I feel I've never stopped, I've momentarily kind of lost my confidence, but, I've gained again by, again, I feel when I joined Toastmasters Club, what was important for me was the inspirational learning that I received from all of you, that I kept learning that how important it is to learn from our failures and not even waste a minute back in thinking about why, what mistakes we've done in the past, rather than that, like crying over it and, thinking about those, it's all a spilt milk right now, and thinking about the past has no meaning. It's meaningless and purposeless. You might as well learn from those experiences and move forward in life. Each and every moment is like that. I feel that mistakes are just a growth phase. You have to keep learning from your mistakes and keep growing yourselves, and look at your mistakes as learning opportunities. And this is the way how people have grown in the past. And we all keep learning from each other, as even for example in COVID, this exactly, each and every country is learning from their own mistakes and coming up and learning from the other countries as well. So we are not losing, but we are in fact just learning each and every day. So thank you, and back to you, Toastmasters of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne, for the wonderful sharing. Yes, in time like this, we can always go online. And every day we can fly to a different country online to take part in Toastmaster meeting. Keep growing, keep learning, keep serving in Toastmasters. Next, we'll have Robin from Mauritius. Robin. Robin Chan.
All right.
Hi,
Ready.
Robin. Choose your favorite number.
20.
20. Your aptitude, not your aptitude, will determine your attitude. By Zig Ziglar. Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your attitude. Over to you, Robin.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening or good morning, wherever you are. Your attitude is not your aptitude. That will determine your altitude. I believe that firmly. Because you see, if you have good manners, it will determine that you're being respected. But if you don't have good manners, then people will look at you, yee, who is this guy? Who is this lady? Like, no manners. Why are you reacting like this? I believe that your attitude will help you to determine your altitude. For example, I give you another example. You see, if you go to, like I know in Singapore, you like to queue up. So if you queue up and then after that, someone will just move, like, you cut the queue and then just go in the front. Hey, this guy cut queue, But how will it determine that perspective of the person? How will you see that person? I believe that you will see that person, that this guy, this girl, no manners. So it changed our perspective of how people see ourselves. So fellow Toastmasters, it's very important to see how people view ourselves. So I believe that it's very good that we have a good attitude so that people will see a better side of us. Over to you.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, next we'll have Anna Juris. Anna Juris.
Good evening or good morning. I would take number 9.
There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you, by Maya Angelou. There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Over to you, Anna.
Dear table topic master, thank you for this question. I would respectfully disagree. I would say there are some stories that should never be told. How many of you have a story that you would never tell? You don't have to raise your hand, and maybe everybody has such a story, at least they should have. And I will tell you why. Not because I would like to keep a secret, even if it's nice things to have if you don't have anything else. However, there are some stories that you can learn from and you don't have to tell to other people. One of such stories that I'm not going to tell, or if you are going to tell, you can change all the details, is the story that I experienced just a few years ago. It was from one of my UK managers that I will not tell his name. I am from Central Europe, a really beautiful country. It's called Slovakia. Maybe some of you have been there, and if not, I will at least invite you to our Toastmaster Club. And he was always a little bit indifferent, as some of the UK people are. They are a little bit formal and standoffish, and I never knew if he liked my work or not. I was training in one of the training centers in Acton. This is a part of London, and I never knew what he really thinks of me, but he paid my salary, he approved my documents, so everything was fine. And then one day he got this assistant or co-worker, and she was asking him, her name was Margaret, her changed name because it's not a story I'm going to tell. And she was asking him, David, which is also probably not his name, why are you hiring people with such a strange accent for our esteemed high education institution? And he said, Margaret, it's fashionable, you should get one too. And from that moment, I realized after I don't know how many years working for this guy or his company, that he actually supported me and liked me because what he said, he never said much, but this sentence, I was in another room, but I heard the whole conversation, and it was one story that I should never witness, but because I did, it completely changed my relationship to my workplace. And from that moment, I started really looking differently at people. That's all from me.
Hi. Awesome, amazing, Anna. Thank you for your wonderful story with us. Next, we will have Thomas Chung. Thomas Chung, are you ready?
Just now I cannot unmute myself, but yeah, I'm ready. Number 3.
Number 3. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn, by Benjamin Franklin. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you. Can switch screen? Hi, can switch the screen? All right, enriching evening, ladies and gentlemen. So when I was a young boy, I mean, I'm still young, but when I was even younger, I loved this game of basketball. And every day I would play and play and play. But even before I began on this journey of playing basketball, I watched different videos of basketball players doing slam dunk, doing layups, throwing 3-pointers. And at the back of my mind, I was thinking, I can just be like them. And when I finally entered to secondary school, there's this curriculum, CCA, called basketball. So my dream practically can come true. So I signed up immediately on the first day, and I thought to myself, since I have years of experience watching other people play basketball, I will be as good as them. But can all of you guess, was I really as good as them? That's right, most of you probably should know. The first shot I take can't even enter the hoop itself. It missed by a mile away. And ladies and gentlemen, that was when I have a wake-up call. When I just look at people playing basketball, I will not be a great basketball player myself. But with that comes the turning point. So I joined the CCA, I practice it every day, and slowly I improve my skill. Slowly the ball starts to go nearer and nearer and nearer to the net. And finally, one day, I finally made my first shot and entered the ball into the three-pointer. And why is it so? It's because even with all the theory and even with all the knowledge that I absorb through the YouTube videos itself, it is not significant compared to me truly practicing the bouncing of the ball, the shooting of the ball, the laying up. And this applies to every areas of our life. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a world with so much information. Every day we are taking in so many different information. But to truly master them and apply them in our daily life, it is all about practicing and doing, regardless of learning a new skill, learning a new language, or even public speaking itself. Because at the end of the day, if you do not try, you do not know. So ladies and gentlemen, I would love to encourage all of you using my basketball journey, and that is to do, and you will forever remember and be the master of the skill.
Terrific, Thomas, for sharing the wonderful story on basketball. Practice makes perfect. So we must always learn and practice. Practice makes perfect. Can I have the next volunteer, Clifton James? Clifton James.
Hello.
Hello. What is your favorite number?
Let's go with number 7.
Number 7, 007, James Bond.
I was thinking David Beckham.
It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be, by Harry Potter. It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. Over to you, Clifton.
It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. Club President, Toastmasters, my dear friends, thank you for this opportunity. How many of us are born with a silver spoon? Not many. How many of us were born in abject poverty? Perhaps some. Do we really have the opportunities to grow to become someone? Most will say, no, with your strength of character, you can do it. However, the sad reality is, if you do not have the opportunities provided to you, or shall I say, lady luck, sometimes you may not get those opportunities to grow to be the person you want to be. Because as we grow older, our responsibilities become higher. We need to feed more people. We need to take care of more people. Or if we choose to not do all these things and live the life of perhaps a bogan and not do anything, then perhaps you can grow to be what you want. There are many perspectives in this. My perspective, we need to depend on each and every single one of us to look for opportunities, to grow people, to develop people. Only then can we grow to be who we want to be. The community is the world, as I can see today in this screen. We all have a choice. We all are born to our parents. But it is not only our parents who will help us develop. And in Toastmasters, we can see that every single person has the ability to make a choice to get out of this place, after COVID, of course, to get out of this place and take care of different people and let them grow. Because when they grow, we grow. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you for the wonderful sharing, Clifton James. Keep going, keep learning, keep serving in Toastmasters. That's the right way to go. It doesn't matter when, where, and when we are born. Can I have the next volunteer? The last one, will be the last one due to timing. Anyone raise up your hand? Angela. Angela, you want to try?
Yes, please.
Pick your favorite number.
5.
5. You must find a place inside yourself where nothing is impossible. By Deepak Chopra. You must find the place inside yourself where nothing is impossible. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you. This is a very vague statement. It's just about being positive. And I would like to say that it's more important to make a positive plan, because they've done experiments where they found that people at Harvard University, that when the students wrote down their 5-year plan, they were far more likely to achieve their aims than when they just thought about it and imagined it. And I think this applies to a lot of life. If you make a shopping list, you go out, you're more likely to get the shopping than if you just think about it. If you make a list of your priorities during the day, you're more likely to accomplish them. And the time when I accomplished most was when I was at school, and the teachers set a plan for me and everybody else. For the first hour of the day, you did French, and the second hour of the day, you did English, and the third hour of the day, you did history. And you never allowed yourself to get carried away with one task to the exclusion of the others. And I think the baccalaureate is absolutely wonderful because you do so many things. But if you're in a school, again, you're making sure you accomplish all of them. And I have lots of plans, for example, learning Chinese and learning Malay and catching up on Spanish and German, but I don't have it written out. And I'm just thinking now, I must write out 9 o'clock till 9:15 German, 9:15 to 9:30 Spanish. If I did all this instead of just thinking, oh, I'm going to learn all these languages by the end of the year, if I plotted out my day, I would accomplish so much more. So don't just look inside yourself and say, yeah, I can do it. Get out your pen and write down what you're going to do and make a plan, a timed plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. For me, I'm a polyglot. I speak Chinese, English, Malay, Indonesia, Japanese, and I'm also learning Korean in order to communicate with my girl. So, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is impossible. Just like Angela, I would like to have a quote by Benjamin Franklin. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. I cannot stress the importance of planning. You can plan your daily timetable now. Let us move to the Toastmaster of the day. Back to you, Jennifer Lim.
The timing report is in the chat.
Okay. Timing report is in the chat. Everyone qualified for voting?
Yes, all qualified.
Okay, great. Ladies and gentlemen, please pick your vote by clicking on the favorite table topic speaker.
Okay, all done. Yes.
60% voted.
So are we still waiting?
It's your call, Toastmaster lead.
Okay, can we just give a few seconds more, maybe? Okay, we are all done. We will take a group picture. Please switch on your video, all of you. Switch on your video and we will take a group picture before we take the break of 10 minutes later on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to help you take your picture. So everybody look at your camera and smile. Okay, somebody is just coming for a moment. Okay, we have 2 pages because tonight we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 49 on first page. Another almost 40 on the next page. So there are 90 of you. I gotta take a few pictures. All right, ready, 1, 2, and 3. Look at your camera.
Yeah.
Smile, smile, smile. Next page, hang on, first page, just continue smiling. Second page is your turn now. All right, now we want a funny pose, something that would tell you you are happy attending Singapore Online English Toastmasters. Okay,
yes,
your
yes.
method, your funny pose. Yay! Okay, page 2. Page 2. Hang on there for page 1. All right. Ready? Yeah! Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it. Everybody, you're great. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much. Now we will have a 10 minutes break. It's now 9:53. So let's have a, let me see. Yeah, it's a 10 minutes break, okay? So we'll come back in 10 minutes time. All right? Okay, thank you. See you later. Is everyone? Right, thank you. Just give me a moment, yeah? Okay, welcome back everyone, once again. We are now going into our next segment, which is the prepared speech segment. So we have tonight 10 speakers, but before we do that, I would like to introduce our language, is it language evaluator? Angela Lansbury. She will be giving us the word of the day. Thank you, Angela, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. The word of the day, I've got a word which would be very easy for the evaluators to use. It is pronounce. Pronounce as a verb. Pronouncement, if you make a pronouncement, it's like an announcement. It's a statement. You can also use mispronounce if you do not pronounce something correctly. And we also talk about received pronunciation, which is what I am speaking. It's not the episode class accent, and it's not the Cockney accent. It's a neutral, clear, middle class accent that you hear Julie Andrews speaking on The Sound of Music. Now, I've also got a taboo word. I do not want you to use the word actually, because I actually hear people saying actually several times in a sentence, and you can actually get really annoyed if they actually use it more times than it needs to actually be used. So I think you see what I actually mean by that. So don't use actually, but actually use pronounce, the pronouncement and pronunciation. And you might even dare use mispronunciation, or you might praise somebody for their received pronunciation. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Angela Lansbury. I hope I have not mispronounced your surname Lansbury.
You pronounced it perfectly.
Thank you. So like I said, we have 10 speakers for tonight. They've put in a lot of effort to do their speeches. So now I'm going to pronounce the first speaker who will be doing her icebreaker speech from Pathway Presentation Mastery, L1P1. The evaluator for this project is Azmina Gulani. May I ask the evaluator to read out the purpose statement of this project? Azmina Gulani, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster and fellow guest. Today I'll be announcing I'll be announcing the Fiona Chen's views. So the purpose of this speech is for the member to introduce himself and herself to the club and learn the basic structure of the public speech. This member is completing his or her first speech in Toastmaster. The goal of the evaluation is to give member an effective evaluation of his speech and delivery style. Thank you.
Thank you. The speaker of this project is allowed 4 to 6 minutes. At the end of 4 minutes, the green screen will be shown. At 5 minutes, the amber screen will be shown. And at 6 minutes, the red screen will be shown. And the speaker has 30 seconds to wrap up before the buzzer sounds. Now, just before I announce the name of the speaker and the title of the speech, the new timer now is Joan. She has taken back her role. Joan, can you please show them the screen? Green, yellow, and red. Joan, please.
Yes, sure. 1 minute. Huh? Green, yellow, and red. Sorry about my face.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you so much. The title of the speech is How to Survive Being a Mom. Let us welcome our speaker, Fiona Chen. Fiona, please, as I do not have your introduction, perhaps you can just give us a brief introduction of yourself. And before you speak, can you also pin the timer zone? Okay, you can look at her screen. There are 3 dots on the top right-hand corner. Can you just pin her? And please give a short description of yourself because I don't have that. Thank you. Fiona.
Okay. Dear President, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guest. Good evening from China. I'm Fiona. I'm a mother of 2. My eldest son is more than 5 years old. My baby girl is almost 2 years old. Being a mom, I have been through dark days. But today or tonight, I'm not going to drag you all in those unpleasant memories. I just want to share my first-hand experience and offer a couple of tips on how to survive being a mom. First, play dead, quote unquote, by being deaf or blind when fight occurs. For younger children, they have this amazing ability. They are able to have disputes at any moment on a daily basis. My elder son tends to pinch or push his sisters whenever she messes around his Lego models. On the other hand, my baby girl tends to cry whenever things go wrong, which is her only proper way to show her emotions out though. They all have these good reasons for what they do. Then, what's wrong with me? At this very moment, please take a deep, deep breath and let your soul vacate your body. You are not able to see or hear anything. Just picture yourself sitting somewhere quiet, sipping at tea or coffee, or anything that appeals to you. Let it be, let them be. All the noises and fights will die out eventually. They may even find those good feelings around each other. Kind of reminder, it will work better if you lay several ground rules in the first place. Say, siblings are meant to help each other. Sharing is what we do. Mom needs break time as well. Second, find a smart way to badmouth your children. Even when they are present, how could you do that? You will ask. We live in a time when physically punishment on your children is not recommended. But how do we balance between tortured by your own children every single day and could not reason with them when they are far too young? Okay, that's what we do. What I do, find a language they don't know. People speak dialects in my hometown, which we don't teach our children. They may be able to pick up 1 or 2 words in our conversation, but not enough to understand. Thus, it enables us to badmouth them whenever we like, commenting on how silly they are or how foolish they behave, while we're still able to maintain a positive image in front of them. We are that kind, loving, and forgiving parents, those 4 role models you may see here or there. After that, we will wear those smirky smiles. And we know we are ready for another day. We could continue to be the kind, loving, and forgiving parents. It's just an emotional way out. Language works far more better than crying. Try sometime. My son has this kind of fully or childish ambition. He wants to be a hero to save the world. He talks about that all the time. Normally when I hear that, I will go, yay, good for you. I'm rooting for you. You can do that. But on the back of my mind, I will go, save your mom first, please. Waiting to be saved is not a wise option, at least for me, no. Instead, I want to save myself and make a better one. Here I am. I joined Singapore Online Toastmasters Club. I want to improve my public speaking skills. I don't want to be afraid to stand out and make a speech of my own. Being a mom, I've been through dark days. What does not beat me or kill me will make me stronger. Hello, I'm Fiona. I'm a new member of Singapore Online Toastmasters Club. Thank you for listening. Back to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Go to the next speaker. The second speaker will be doing his pathway, engaging humor, level 2, project 1, know your sense of humor. The evaluator for this project is distinguished Toastmaster Angela Lansbury. May I ask Angela to read out for us the purpose statement of this project?
Good evening, everybody. The purpose of this project is for the speaker to understand their sense of humor and its uses, which they will explain and demonstrate.
There's some echo, Angela.
Could you
Some
hear me?
feedback.
I don't know why.
Okay, you are okay now.
The purpose is to understand your humorous style and demonstrate your understanding of it. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, the speaker is again allowed 5 to 7 minutes. So Joan at 5 minutes will display the green screen, at 6 minutes the yellow, at 7 the red, and the speaker has 30 seconds to wrap up his speech. The title of the speech is The Centaur. Our speaker is the VPE of this club. She likes skiing over the weekends, bungee jumping, and wrestling crocodiles. Let us welcome our speaker, DL5 EC1, Navin Giri. Navin, please.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. Hope everyone's having a stellar evening tonight. I don't care what anyone says. What is always true, everyone has a centaur story. What do I mean by that? Well, you know the centaur, the story, you know what a centaur is? It's a creature that's half man, half horse. How the story came about is that non-horse riding civilizations, when they met these horse riding civilizations, they couldn't distinguish the body of the upper half. They couldn't distinguish both the body of the horse and the human beings differently. So they saw the creature as one. And that's how the legend of the centaur came about. I have my own centaur story. I hope you all will humor me while I tell you the tale. That wasn't right. Many years back, I helped to organize a conference in which I also attended. There was a buffet, and the attendees were not supposed to indulge in the buffet before the conference ended. They could only eat after the conference ended. So I was at the buffet table just watching like a hawk, and I saw this guy. He was eating a banana. So I was pretty furious because we've already informed them. We've already told them, you know, you're not supposed to eat before the conference finish. Rightfully, as I was coming up to him, I was asking him, sir, can you please put down that banana? Because his hands were to his face. I did not see him from that angle because he was actually holding a phone to his face. So it looked like he was eating a banana because his nose looked like a banana. So when that embarrassing thing happened to me, I didn't know what to do. I was perplexed, you know. I had to salvage the situation immediately. A lot of things were running through my mind, and these were conference attendees. They paid good money to come here and attend the conference. And I was in this position whereby I just insulted an attendee without insulting him. When I discovered that it was his nose and not a banana that he was eating, it was his nose and not a banana. And he was actually he was at an angle where it looked like he was eating a banana. That was the ball that dropped. So I had to salvage the situation. I had to think of something. I had to change. Immediately the weather came to mind. So I said, hey, it's nice weather. But then his nose came into my mind again, and I stumbled again, and I told him, isn't it nice, you can just smell the coffee in Colombia. And we were in Singapore. So, he had a big nose, coffee in Colombia. I stumbled again. So I said, oh no. I quickly thought of the weather. I changed the subject to the weather. Needless to say, at the end of it, he was quite forgiving. We had a great laugh about it, and I was on my way. That was the first Centaur story. The second one, went on a bus, seated in a bus. I sort of like saw a guy from an angle looking at him. I couldn't tell if he had no hips, because he looked like he had no hips. Just like a head and a torso. So I was quite perplexed. I had to do a double take. I had to look again to see what was going on over there. And then it occurred to me that he was actually wearing his pants really, really high. One of those guys that like to wear really high pants. He could just reach behind and grab a wallet without going to moving his hands to the back of his pants. That was how high it was. So from that angle, it looked like he didn't have a torso. No, I didn't engage him, but it got me thinking. And that's how I came up with the story about the centaur. You have to be careful. You have to do, sometimes what you see is not always what you get. You have to do a double take. Now, the thing about the centaur is it doesn't just happen, the trick of the eye doesn't just happen with the eyes. It doesn't happen with the sight. It also happens with sound. I had a friend who answered a phone call. He was doing telemarket. He thought the lady he was speaking to, he thought the person he was speaking to was a lady because of the pitch of her voice and the way she spoke. And he was an expert at listening to people speak. He could be an evaluator, basically. So the moral of the story is, no matter what, check again, verify, do about double check and verify, because everyone has a centaur story that we all can learn from. Back to you, Toastmasters of the day. Hello?
Sorry. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you so much for your centaur story. So now we will go to the third speaker. The third speaker will be doing her pathway, Leadership Development Level 1, Project 3, Evaluation and Feedback 2. The evaluator for this project is Distinguished Toastmaster Panos Corellis. May I ask the evaluator to read out for us the purpose statement of this project? Thank you, Panos.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Well, slight correction. We have a distinguished speaker coming up who is a distinguished Toastmaster. His evaluator one day will be a distinguished Toastmaster. Shanshan tonight will be giving us a speech based on the second project of the evaluation and feedback, which means that her main purpose would be to be applying the feedback that she got from the first time she gave this speech. And from the notes that I have received from the speaker, I can tell you that I would be listening for vocal variety, the use of vocal variety, and how she will be breathing life into her characters. Sanshan, looking forward to your speech, and many, many thanks to the Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Panos. The speaker is allowed again 5 to 7 minutes, so I will not repeat that. The title of the speech is Introvert Living the Best Life. Our speaker joined Toastmasters to conquer the fear of public speaking. Let us welcome our speaker, distinguished Toastmaster, Li Shanshan. Li Shanshan, please. Can you pin the timer, please?
Okay, give me a moment. Yep. All right. Bye. I'm leaving now, I shouted as I put on my shoes, slung my bag on my shoulders, headed out of the flat to work. Now, this is a routine that has been going on for years, every day since I step out into the workforce. Every day, step out of the house, office, travel home, next day wake up, office, repeat, repeat, repeat. Sequencing never change. It's just that it depends on whether you check your working roster to say that, oh, today is not your working day and don't forget not to go to office. Because sometimes we do have colleagues coming in, today I'm supposed to work or am I supposed not to work? And then go back into the schedule and check, oh, I can go home already because today is not my day to work, it's my days off. Yet, we still have some people coming in and say, today am I working or not working? Because they never check the schedule before they leave the house. Which is something that I don't understand, something that I also wonder how it can happen. Because, frankly speaking, it happened to me as well. So my routine is very simple. Wake up in the morning, have breakfast, okay, get ready for work. Once work has ended, we'll return home. And return home for dinner may not that easy because by the time I reach home, it's almost 11 p.m. So dinner will become supper. Now what I want to say is, how many of you have said more than a few words to your family members while you are rushing for work? How many of you have done that? How many of you have said more than bye, hi, okay, let's everybody get ready for work, everybody get ready for school, and that's all, nothing else? How many of you have that where you say, okay, that's all, I'm leaving the house, and nothing else? Not more than 3 words to your family members. How many of you have that? Now that Singapore is under the circuit breaker, practically, my routine is very simple. Wake up at 8 a.m., have lunch, have breakfast, morning tea break, afternoon lunch, afternoon tea break, dinner, and sleep. Now you might be wondering, why are you awake at 8 a.m. in the morning when you can sleep until 12 p.m. in the afternoon? The reason is, even if I want to sleep until 12 p.m., I also cannot sleep because my bed is directly under the windows and I always forget to close the curtains. So by the time 8 a.m. shines in, it's time to wake up because the whole room is so sunny that the sunshine wakes you up immediately. And secondly, the sunshine wakes you up. The windowsill under my bed also wake me up because I always bang my head on the windowsill. So you can say that I always wake up with a bang. Now that circuit breaker has entered and is extended, my routine is almost the same based on my days off because days off are spent on Starbucks, getting Starbucks sugar-free vanilla latte, watching Netflix, reading storybooks, and particularly just on the phone. Basically, the days off routine is also repeated during circuit breaker because you're free to do a lot of things. And now what we do is work, video, work video, work play video. Is there any routine to it? Practically every day, the routine remains the same. Wake up in the morning, have breakfast, morning tea break, lunch, afternoon tea break, dinner. For the last 15 days, this has been the routine. Of course, in between all these meals, you have your work, you have your Netflix, you have your YouTube, you have your digital books, you have your phones for games and all that. How many of you have actually the luxury of chatting with your family's members before this circuit breaker? And how many of you have this luxury that you can have a conversation during meals with them and not just say more than 3 words to them and just not more hi and bye to your family members? Now that you are staying at home with your family members, how many of you really talk to them aside from hiding in your room the whole time as well? Previously, you have the excuse of, okay, I'm heading out to work. I don't really have time. I will talk to you when I come back to work. Once you get back from work, you are so tired that you forgot what you told your family members in the morning. So now, the luxury of having everybody in the house is just that you have to be careful not to invade the personal space that all of us have. Like myself, we are all stuck in our rooms. Once we head out the living room, sometimes you might hear conversations of family members having to work from home. So try just to walk through over them or just have a quick talk and of course have a conversation with them during meal times. Sometimes even if you can't get the conversation started, you might want to try to get the conversation started during like maybe getting a glass of water and then get the conversation again while during meals. This way, you have time to bond with family members. Take this chance to bond with them. Take this chance to understand better. Because once this things goes back to normal, how many of you think that you will have the luxury of sitting down with them from morning, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the same family for all these 3 meals every day once we are back to our normal routine? So think about it. So I urge all of you to take this chance to bond with your family members, talk to them, and get to know them. Even though you have been staying them for the last 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, or that. Just talk to them. Enjoy the chance to be your family because you will never know when this chance will come again. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Shanshan. Looks like the Toastmaster journey definitely helped you a lot. You seem to have conquered your fear of public speaking. That's wonderful. It is true that during the circuit breaker period, we should try to spend more time with the family, but looks like for me, it's the reverse. When I was out, they see me more often. When I'm at home now, I'm cooped up in my study room, attending online meetings all the time. And my children say, Mommy, it looks like you're very busy, even more busy than you were before. Thank you so much. We will now go to the 4th speaker who will be doing her pathway, engaging humor, level 2, project 2, engage your audience with humor. The evaluator for this project is Nikos Pavlopoulos. May I ask the evaluator to read out for us the purpose statement of this project? I hope I have pronounced your name correctly.
Yes, it was a very good way to pronounce it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Hyung-min is working on his engaging humor pathway, and the particular project is titled Engage Your Audience with Humor. So, Hyung-min, throughout his effort, he's working to develop his ability to become a humorous speaker, And the particular objectives of this project is to determine his style of humor and apply it to a speech that centers around a central message. His speech duration is going to be from 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, Toastmasters Jennifer.
Thank you. Again, it's 5 to 7 minutes, as the evaluator mentioned. Our speaker is from South Korea, and today he wants to share his stories when he was rebellious and how he became a decent man. The title of his speech is Man of Change. Please welcome our speaker, Hyun-Min Choi. Hyun-Min, please.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, fellow Toastmaster. I have something to confess. Since I just joined Singapore Online Toastmaster Club a few days ago, I want to come clean and I want you to see what kind of man I am. I want you to see like what kind of journey, how rebellious I was and how I became man of change. So let's take a time travel back to 2003. So it was my first year as a secondary school. And because of flow of hormone adolescence, I wanted to be cool, like all kids. I wanted to hang out with the cool kids in the school. And I found out that all the cool kids in the school, they smoke and they drank, and they were popular to girls in school. So I wanted to be like them. So the first thing I decided to do is to start smoking. At first, I couldn't smoke properly. I cough a lot, and I didn't like the activity itself, but I just pretend I like it. But a few weeks later, I started to develop a habit and effects kick in. It kind of calmed me down. I even found a secret spot by myself behind my apartment. There was a river, and then I always sat down on the river bank, and at night, looking at this light and then hearing those water splashing, like hearing those bugs buzzing, it was really calming and relaxing. So I made a habit of smoking cigarette before I go back home every day. And my mom, of course, she started to suspect. So I denied it at first, but she was for sure knew that I was smoking by myself. So she asked my dad to take me out to resolve this issue. So I thought my dad will beat me to death or scold me screaming outside to teach me, to educate me. But it was totally different. Can you guess what my father did? My father actually asked me to give him cigarette, and then he asked me to lit the cigarette, and he smoked cigarette by himself. He himself has never smoked cigarette, so he coughed a lot, and he didn't stop. I asked him to stop. If you don't know how to stop properly, smoke properly, then you should stop. But he said, no, son, like you decided to die earlier than me by smoking cigarette. I cannot see that happen as your father. Like it sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's literally what he said. Let's blame it on my translation. So it struck me really hard. And at that moment, that was my wake-up call. I realized how much he loved me, how he thinks of me. So I decided to come clean, I threw away all the cigarettes, and I decided to stop hanging out with those rebellious kids in school. And yes, if the story ends here, you will never agree that I was quite rebellious, right? So to meet your expectation, I have another story. So fast forward another year, on my birthday, my father gave me a birthday present. He's bike aficionado. He likes to ride a bike in a mountain. He has like MTB bike. So he gave me a really fancy and unique bike with this shock absorber on both front and then back wheel. So anyway, it was really unique and I liked it. So I liked it a lot. I rode it to go everywhere. But things took ugly turn, like because I lost my bike on a day, like few months later, I lost my bike. I parked my bike in public space. I never heard anyone lost their bike in that space. So I never expected to lose bike over there. And I want to find this culprit. I want to see justice served. So I asked the nearby convenience store to show me the surveillance camera, but the owner was not cooperative. And even I report this crime to police officer because of the lack of evidence, maybe the police officer kind of blamed it on me. It was your fault to park your expensive bike in that public space. So I was furious. And that's the point where my moral compass got broken. So I decided to do some revenge in some ugly way. So I went out to steal someone else's bike. And I went to an apartment and I managed to steal a bike because at the time the security was not as strong as nowadays. And then I figured it out, it was kind of perfect crime. Little did I know it will develop some kind of bad habit. So I continued to upgrade my bike to a better bike if I see bike in a public space or some apartment. So I upgraded my bike like third time. And then later on, I got caught. I was caught on a surveillance camera from apartment, like really relatively new apartment. So the next day, school principal called me up on his office, and I went into his office. I realized that the moment came. So he asked me if I have anything to confess. So I just confessed and asked for forgiveness. And he said that you should seek your forgiveness to your parents. And then he called my parents, and I didn't want to go back home at that night because for sure I destroyed their trust. I betrayed their faith in me again. So for sure this time my father will kill me. So I was expecting my mom and my father holding baseball bats or maybe knife or whatever they can pick up at my house as a weapon. But it was completely different than my expectation. They actually sat down, they brought some tea, and then they were waiting for me to come, and then they asked me to sit down and ask me, why did you do it? And then what do you think about your behavior? So I told my story as an excuse, but I knew that I realized that like even after this misbehavior and then this mistake, they are still trying to understand me, still trying to give a chance and forgive me. It really made me sad to like let them down. So it was a sobering moment. It was a turning point again. So I asked for their forgiveness. And then, but they told me that I have to seek forgiveness from the victim. Anyway, from that moment on, I took completely different life and more disciplined life. So to summarize, I just want to share one of my favorite song that is Korean hip hop song. The lyric goes, when you start to understand your parent, you become an adult. So now I see how difficult it was to raise a son like me. I wouldn't be able to do it if I have a son like me. I would just kill him or I would just beat him to death. So I just want to take this opportunity to pledge and promise to myself and to you so publicly so that I will do my best to pay back what my parent did to me to raise me. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Hyumin. That's a very interesting speech. And yeah, I'm sure your mom will be very happy now to know that you have become a decent man.
I hope so.
I know how it is because I have two sons as well, older than you. Not easy to raise sons, to be honest. Thank you so much. Let's thank him for his speech. And we go to the next speaker. The fifth speaker will be doing his pathway strategic relationships. The evaluator for this project is Dennis Ham. May I ask the evaluator to read out for us the purpose statement of this project?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, I want to clarify that I am evaluating speaker number 5.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, all right. Well, her project is supposed to be interpreting poetry. And so it's not just for her to just pronounce the words, but she's supposed to add some life to the words.
Okay.
And, okay, are we on the right track?
Yes.
Okay, I will make sure. Okay. So anyways, our speaker is supposed to use vocal techniques to capture imagery and rhythm of a poem and to convey the meaning and emotions to our audience. So that's what our next speaker will be doing. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. The time is the same, 5 to 7 minutes, so I will not repeat that.
Sorry, Toastmaster of the day, it is 6 to 8 minutes, right?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Interpretive reading.
Yeah, the speaker is allowed 6 to 8 minutes for her speech. At the end of 6 minutes, the green screen will be shown. At 7, the amber, and at 8, the red, and you will have 30 seconds to wrap up before the buzzer sounds. The title of the speech is The Road Not Taken. Our speaker is a dynamic speaker who always takes the road not taken to achieve heights. She is dedicated and sincere in performing every task, including her Toastmaster speeches. Let us welcome our speaker, Chidambaran Meenakshi. And may I ask you to pin the timer zone? All right, and also please try to use the word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. The road not taken. I'm going to give you my second speech from the interpretive reading manual. The poem that I chose today is from Robert Frost, who wrote this poem as a joke to his friend Edward Thomas, who is also a very well-known poet. When they went walking together, Thomas was chronically indecisive about which road they ought to take when they came across a forked road. They actually discussed about it later in time and lamented about that we should have taken the other road. This instinct, Robert Frost wrote this poem, The Road Not Taken. This poem was written in 1915 and it has taken place in many of the academic books. For example, I came across this poem for the first time when I was in the O level. I think this is enough of introduction and let's dive deep into the poem. Two roads diverged in yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. This makes up the first paragraph of the poem. There are 4 stanzas of the poem, and let me go one by one so that I don't put a lot of things into your mind at the same time. If you notice in this first stanza, he's saying it is a yellow wood and there is 2 roads that is being diverged. Yellow wood, does it mean yellow leaves? Okay, take it as yellow leaves. That means he's bringing in the mood of the poem as in the exact scenario is in autumn. And it also symbolizes that the wood for forest. So they are walking along a very deserted forest kind of a place in the autumn, and they have in front of them 2 roads. Both looked very attractive and both looked similar. They both had yellow leaves and kind of this represents unity. And if you see in the stanza, he's trying to put in some unity among the traveler and to being standing alone. Maybe you would have this question in your mind, okay, he was with his friend, right? Why did he put us standing alone?
The decision as in has to be taken by one person. Two persons cannot combinedly take a decision, but they can agree on a decision, right? So that's why he's saying that one traveler who is standing alone. Now, the second stanza comes to show you what the decision they made. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better climb, because it was grassy and wanted weir, though as far that the passing day had worn them really about the same. Now, he's giving us some clue by saying that if he has taken the other road, does it mean not the one which is exactly in front of them, but he has taken the other road? So by saying the other, he says kind of the road that not everybody would choose, or maybe he's trying to say something else. Still, we don't know what he's trying to say, but we get a kind of an idea that he has taken the other road, which looks just as fair as the first one. But in the second line, he says there is a better climb, but he says perhaps a better climb. That means probably if he takes the other road, he is going to get a good claim or the reward over the first one. He's saying that it was grassy and wanted a beer. But in the first paragraph, he said it is kind of a yellow wood with kind of dried up leaves. And now he's referring to grassy, but maybe he's trying to put in some information about the roads, and he's trying to tell us that the road that he was about to take is a little bit grassy, and over them there are dry leaves. Okay, does it make any sense? Okay, let's go forward and dig deeper into the next stanzas. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I should ever come back. Now, you would be wondering, why is he talking about the first one and why is he talking about coming back? Probably in this, we get more information like, did he ever take the road or not? Because he still seems to be in a dilemma of taking the first road or the second road. He's also saying that the leaves are on the road that he's looking into are not become black, which means nobody has stepped on that road and the leaves are still yellow. Okay, only when you walk on a road, the leaves get your footstep and they start to blacken out. But as the poet says, this road looks bright with grassy and some leaves over it, but no black leaves. That means nobody has taken the road. In the next stanza, we might probably get the whole instinct and the content of the entire poem. He's saying, I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Now we got the gist of the poem. He's saying he's going to reiterate the story of the two roads back in ages and ages again, which means this is a very important decision that the poet has taken. This is not just talking about the two roads that he is in front of him, but about two choices in his life, and he took the one that was less traveled. Probably he's talking about his career choice. Probably he's talking about becoming a poet. And he's claiming that it made a huge difference in his life. That is, it has made a successful difference in his life. With this poem, we have a great motivation and an inner content and depth in every single word. To conclude the sense and the mood of the poem, I would say at any point of time in your life, you would probably have more than one choice. The first choice may look very attractive, comfortable, and in your zone, but also check the second choice. You may not have full information about both the choices and where they lead to, but definitely they are not going to merge anywhere in time. Definitely they're going into two diverse directions, and you are the one who need to decide on which choice you want to take. According to the poet, if you take the less traveled, and there is going to be sure success. And you would be an example for that choice in future. So guys, so friends and Toastmasters, be ready, open up your eyes and choose the right path for you when it comes to you. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Mina. That's yes, it's true that in our life we have many choices sometimes. We can be taking the right or the wrong, it depends. But whichever choice or road that we take, we learn and we grow. So our next speaker, the sixth speaker, will be doing her pathway speeches by management level 4, communicating change. The evaluator for this project is Pallavi Singh. May I ask evaluator to read out the purpose statement of this project?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so good evening everyone, and rather hello to everyone. The project objective for Doreen is to introduce, I'm so sorry to interrupt over here, I'm getting an echo.
Are you done?
All of,
yeah.
No,
okay.
I'm getting a lot of echo, so it's very difficult for me to speak it out.
Okay, can those people who are not speaking mute your microphone, please?
Okay, I'm sorry, I'll try again. The purpose of the project is to introduce a new idea or change to established operations or methods, show the audience how the change will benefit them, overcome any resistance to the new idea, and gain the audience's support. The time duration for Doreen is 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you, Pallavi. The title of this speech is Overcoming the Odds. Not now, then when. Our speaker is a retiree since December 2018 after 47 years of service. Let us welcome Doreen Neo. Doreen, please. Please pin the timer, Joan, and try to use the word of the day. Thank you.
TMD Jennifer.
Yes.
Just one correction. My project is not from the pathway. It's actually from the old syllabus.
The old manual. Okay.
Correct. So that's just a correction for my evaluator to take note.
Thank you. You may commence when you're ready.
Okay, I'll start now. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, fellow Toastmaster. With the COVID-19 and the circuit breaker, my plan to do the projects at various club physical meeting was jeopardized. COVID-19 is going to stay. God knows until when. Unless I take the very first step to join the online Zoom meeting, if I want to complete the last lap of my ACG. Otherwise, my Toastmaster journey will be halted. Being an introvert, I find that I cannot fit into this international environment where there are people from all over the world. Then what should I do? Give up without even trying? Oh, no, no, that's not me. Then what should I do? It's just a change from a physical to an online presentation. Why then I'm so skeptical about it? Not as though that I had never gone through changes. So what are the fears? Well, to share with you, honestly, it is the phobia. At my age, having to learn new techno, Zoom meeting, which I have never heard of it. So this phobia here is very strong. And secondly, the shyness of facing the camera. Then what should I do? After a long thought, I said to myself, isn't this the right time to challenge the odds? If I don't do it now, then when? So I pushed myself on. I decided to join the online meeting. Yes, when I first joined the online meeting, the journey was really, really very tough initially, but then the enriching and the enlarging experience is worth it. Trust me. I would like to share with you now, what are my odds? What are my fears? As I mentioned earlier, the first one is the new technology. I was first introduced to this online meeting by the president. He has sent me the link. It's very easy to operate. I first make use of the handphone. With the link provided, I just press on it and it will bring me to the meeting. And from there, I could view. I muted myself and I also off the video. Why? Because I was camera shy. I listened to all the speeches. Wow, it's awesome and inspiring. I love them all. Next, the table topics. Oh my God, they are so tough. Next, I observe the TMD. My first login, I was so impressed by the awesome TMD. Guess who? He is none other than Panos. Besides that, the evaluators and the table topic master are excellent too. I have taken back quite a number of tips from this experienced Toastmaster. After using the handphone, I was advised to switch on to laptop. When I use laptop, I also have the issue, the odds, many odds. The first odd that I had was when I switched on, I couldn't get the video or the audio. I was instructed to do a setup at my computer. I couldn't comprehend what I'm supposed to do. I reached out to my son to help me. Do you know what was his first comment? He said, Mom, Toastmaster should actually give you physical training. You are a Merdeka, and I know for sure that you are a visual person and needs hands-on. My son knows the mother well. After that had been solved, the next difficulty, what do I encounter? I encounter other issues such as where can I find the gallery view, the speaker view, the timer? When the TMD was mentioning this, I was panicked. Where do I go to? Thank God. The next day, I reached out to one of the SG member. I met Alexis, and she was kind enough to use her private lunchtime to guide me on hands-on. Last but not the least is the sharing of the file. This I need it desperately. I must manage this so that I can present my next project on body language, which needs the sharing of the PowerPoint. I'm very thankful to Ron, who has created the extra, what he called it, on time, on target, Zoom 8 to 9 p.m. com. And that was very good. I make use of that to practice each other day. At last, I make some progress. To share with you the joy. Yesterday, I finally managed to complete my successful club series on the body language. Other aspect, the next one is the camera shy. My first breakthrough was when I joined the speech marathon on the 17th of March. Too much worry the night before. Nothing to worry, nothing so scary after all. It is the mindset. Few more practices make progress. Next, I was given the feedback. Don't look at the screen, look at the camera. Oh, my understanding was corrected. I was so happy. But then, how do I differentiate the screen and the camera? Well, few practices will make progress. Ladies and gentlemen, embrace the change to overcome the odds now is the right choice that I have made. I have found that I have made little progress and more confidence, able to learn from the experienced Toastmaster. In conclusion, don't resist change, embrace it as it will create the opportunity for you to challenge and overcome the odds. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Green, thank you. Yes, if we don't overcome the odds now, then when? We have to do it now then. We will now go to the seventh speaker who will be doing, be it pathway or manual, storytelling level 3, the moral of the story. The evaluator for this project is Emmanuel Ojembumi. May I ask the evaluator to read out for us the purpose statement of this project? Thank you. Emmanuel, please.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, for that wonderful introduction. I have the honor and privilege this evening to evaluate Toastmaster Vikama's speech. So Master Vikama is not speaking from pathways. He's speaking from the Advanced Communication Series, the Storytelling Manual, and he's doing the project number 3. And part of the things that this objective is supposed to meet is that we're supposed to understand that a story can be entertaining, yet display moral values. His speech will also tell us that you can create a new story that can offer a lesson or a moral. And the story should tell us using the skills he has developed in the past 2 projects in the Storytelling Manual of the Advanced Communication Series. Toastmaster Vikama has 4 to 6 minutes, and his speech is titled Slow and Steady. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Actually, he has, I'm sorry, I used the word actually. He changed his speech title to Wake Up and Smell the Coffee. So wake up and smell the coffee. Our speaker lives in the moment and says nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let us welcome Vikana Chaudhary. Vikana, please. Please also pin the timer and use the word of the day if you can. Thank you.
Wake up and smell the coffee. Oh, by the way, can I just do a quick sound check?
You sound good.
Okay, sorry, just to restart. Wake up and smell the coffee, said Susan. I don't have a coffee maker in my room. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This is a story which I'm going to share with you what happened when I was in college. So a quick flashback and come along with me for this journey. I went to school, continents and continents far away. I went to a state called Ohio. The plane journey was extremely long. It nearly took me 24 hours thanks to the layover. My layover in Amsterdam was very long. I got to college finally at Ohio, and I was in awe. I think the first few days I must have just walked around with my mouth open. Half of it could be due to jet lag, half of it could be due to everything being new, you know, new culture, new people, a different environment, and not to forget new weather. People told me out there that it was in the middle of the summer, but to me, it felt more like winter. Boy, was I wrong when winter came around. Summer was heavenly. Just like any new person in a college, I went around meeting new people, making new friends. I met people in my dorms, I met people in the classroom. A few days later on, I realized a person who was living a couple of doors down from me was also in all my same classes. So we became pretty good friends and we began hanging out. And we would do homeworks together, we would do our projects together. Halfway through the semester, my friend Susan walked in through the door and said, "Wake up and smell the coffee." I looked at her and said, "I don't have a coffee maker. Look around in my dorm room." She began laughing. She burst out laughing hysterically. She said, "No, you dummy. I mean, Charles, the person who lives 3 doors down from you, he's taking all the credit for all the work you're doing. And not only that, he is bad-mouthing you and spreading a lot of rumors." I'm like, really? I didn't know how to react. I, as a young kid of 18 years old, was enraged. Didn't really know how to keep track of emotions. So I went charging down the hallway, knocked on Charles' door, and told him, "Hey, I hear you've been spreading malicious rumors about me." He said, "No, that's not true. I think you're crazy. I don't know what you've heard, but I know I'm better, smarter, stronger than you." Anyhow, we managed to get through the last project together, and then soon we drifted apart, which was fine by me. I had lots of other friends. Towards the end of the semester, I went towards the student union to apply for a job. Lo and behold, Charles was there as well. He was telling everybody, "I'm smarter, I'm faster, I'm stronger. Nobody is better than me at this job. I know I've got this job. Most people who apply will not be able to do it." I heard him. I saw him looking at me smirking as well. I went in and gave my application in. The board looked at everybody's application and pretty soon shortlisted 2 people. Who was it? It was me and Charles. We were given 3 tasks each to do. And whoever finished those 3 tasks accurately and finished it off first would be given the position. We were handed our task and off we went. Charles, being the smoocher he was, he quickly ran off, began networking with people. I sat down to look, to figure out what all needed to be done with the task. Even before I had a semblance of plan, Charles came running back into the student union and proclaimed, "I have got the first task done." And off he went for the second. In the meanwhile, I formulated a plan, got up and began to go towards my first task. Charles was running back to the student union and he tells me, "See, I'm stronger, faster, better than you, and I've got the second task done." I brushed off his comments and moved on. I'm like, that's okay. I was a little bit worried that he'd already got 2 tasks done and I hadn't got a single one done. I plodded along. As I had charted out my plan, I got my task 1, 2, and 3 done in no time. In the meanwhile, as Charles had thought he had a huge lead from me, he decided to go to the student union to have coffee and flirt with the girls. I start walking back to the student union. I push open the door. and walk in. As soon as I walk in, students out there start screaming, Vikaran, Vikaran, Vikaran. Charles, sitting at the other end of the student union, hears the commotion and my name and suddenly realizes, oh, he's been flirting and drinking coffee way too long. He jumps up from his seat, runs towards to hand in his task and his progress. I'm already there at the end. I have already beaten him to it. I sit there for a couple of minutes for the board to decide who is going to get the position. They announce me as the winner. The moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. And just like the tortoise and the hare, I was the slow and steady and I won the race. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Vikana. Yes, slow and steady wins the race. We got to take it that way. Our next speaker, the 8th speaker, will be doing her advanced communication series, storytelling level 4, the touching story. The evaluator for this project is Faith Bawa. May I ask the evaluator to read out for us the purpose statement of this project? Faith, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, everyone. Our next speaker will be speaking from the Advanced Communication Series, Touching Stories 4. Her speech objectives are to understand the techniques available to arouse emotions, to become skilled at arousing emotions while telling a story, and to evoke emotions among her listeners using description and dialogue. As we look forward to having our emotions being aroused, timer, please take note that she has 6 to 8 minutes. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Faith. 6 minutes, it will be green, 7 minutes amber, 8 minutes red, and she has 30 seconds to wrap up her speech. The title of the speech is Heart to Heart. Our speaker is a happy-go-lucky person who enjoys life, aims to live in the moment, create memories, and enjoy the journey more than the destination. Her hobbies are playing the saxophone, digital photography, sports, and being a tourist within her own country. Let us welcome our speaker, ACB ALB, Alicia Chia. Alicia, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. A scorching and scintillating Friday to President, members, and guests. How is everyone coping during this COVID-19 period? Are you sad, anxious, stressed, fearful, or depressed? I put 3 heart-to-heart stories that will surely touch your hearts and light your day. Story 1. A poor man had a beautiful wife. His wife had luscious and beautiful long hair that she loved and adored. One day, her hair clip broke and she wanted a new one to take care of her hair. So she asked her husband, "Honey, can you please bring me a new hair clip?" "I'm sorry, honey. Now with this COVID-19, I can't even afford to get my broken spectacles fixed." He replied her with a heavy heart. Now, as he was taking a walk with his face mask on, he saw a spectacle shop and suddenly thought of something. Why don't I sell my broken spectacle for a little money to get my wife her hair clip? So he sold his broken spectacles for some money and bought his wife a new hair clip. As he got home, he was shocked to see his wife with short hair. Honey, I sold my He said, honey, I sold my long hair to the salon and bought you a new spectacle. He said with a smile on her face. Tears started rolling on her husband's face as he gave her the new hair clip. And the room filled with their sacrificial love. Moral of the story is, life can be tough, but sacrificial love still exists. Story number 2. A doctor entered the hospital in a hurry after being called in for urgent surgery. He answered the call ASAP, changed his clothes, and went directly to the surgery block. He found the boy's father pacing up and down in the hall, waiting for the doctor. On seeing him, the boy's dad yelled at the doctor, "Why do you take all this time to come? Don't you know that my son's life is in danger? Don't you have any sense of responsibility?" The doctor smiled and said, "Why do you take all this time to come? Don't you know that The doctor smiled and said, "I'm sorry. I wasn't in the hospital and I came as fast as I could after receiving the call. And now I wish you would calm down so that I can do my work." Calm down? What if your son were in that room right now? Would you calm down? If your son dies now, what would you do? Said the father angrily. The doctor smiled again and replied, "I will say what Job said in the Holy Book. From dust we came, and to dust we return. Blessed be the name of God. Doctors cannot prolong lives. Go and intercede for your son. We will do our best by God's grace." Giving advices when we are not concerned is so easy, murmured the father. The surgery took some hours, after which the doctor went out happily. "Thank goodness, your son is saved." And without waiting for the father's reply, he carried on his way running. If you have any questions, ask the nurse. "Why is he so arrogant? He couldn't wait some minutes so that I can ask about my son's state," commented the father when seeing the nurse minutes after the doctor left. The nurse replied, tears coming down her face. "His son died yesterday due to COVID-19. He was at the burial when we called him for your son's surgery. And now that he saved your son's life, he left running to finish his son's burial." Moral of this story too is that never judge anyone, because you never know how their life is and what they are going through. Now to my last story. There was a kid who lived with his mother, and he was called Jay. Jay used to hate his mother because she had only one eye. And he used to feel embarrassed. One day, Jay's mother went to school to meet Jay, but Jay was so embarrassed. Jay thought to himself, "How could she do this to me?" He ignored her and ran out. Next day, a boy from Jay's class commented to him, "Hey Jay, your mother only has one eye." Jay was so embarrassed that he wanted his mother to disappear. That day, after reaching home, confronted his mother and said, "Because of you, people all make fun of me. Why don't you die?" Even after listening to this, his mother did not respond. All his childhood, Jay thought of getting out of the house. So he studied hard and got a job at a big MNC. There, he got married, had kids, and all the comforts, and was incredibly happy with his life, away from his mother, and living somewhere in the upper end of Marina Bay area. One day, his mother came to visit him. She had not seen him since he left home. And for the first time, she was going to meet her grandchildren. As she rang the bell and stood by the door, the grandchildren opened the door, and after seeing her, they laughed at her, not knowing who she was. When her son came to the door and saw her, he started screaming at her, "How can you come to my house uninvited and scare my kids? Get out now and never come again." To this, his mother replied, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I may have forgotten the wrong address," and left. One day, Jay got a call from his old neighbor to pick up a letter for him. There, his neighbor told him that his mother passed away and gave him a letter left for him. Jay opened up the letter and started reading it. "My dearest son, I think of you all the time. I miss you a lot. I'm sorry that I came to your house and scared your children. I was so glad to hear that you are doing well despite COVID-19. I don't know if I will be able to get out of bed to see you. I'm so sorry that I was a constant embarrassment when you were growing. You do not know that when you were little, you got into an accident and lost one eye. As your mother, I could not stand watching you grow up having just one eye, so I gave you mine. Take care, my dear. I love you." Moral 3, you never know what your parents have been through to see you happy. So never judge them and respect and care for them always. So if you still have your mask on, remember, take them off and take the invisible mask of your fear, anxiety, stress. And remember that you can love each other. Do not judge. And go forth, be the light for others. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Alicia. Our ninth speaker now is doing his competition speech for the international contest. We will be his evaluator. He will share with us a Google form for us to give our feedback. So I encourage all the people in the audience later to do the feedback on the form. The speaker is allowed, hold on, let me just check. 5 to 7 minutes. 5, the green screen will show. At 6, the amber, and at 7, the red. The title of the speech is "Don't Let Your World Get Small." Our speaker is a double distinguished Toastmaster who started Toastmasters in Wrocław, Poland, in one of the 3 top performing Toastmaster clubs globally. He now lives in Ireland and will be presenting his contest speech. Let us welcome our speaker, distinguished Toastmaster, Zain ul Abidin. Zain,
Thank you.
please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
It's a cold, freezing day of 1975 in a small village in Pakistan. A 14-year-old boy is walking to his school on an ice-covered path. He's the first one to arrive, except, of course, his teacher, a tall, wise man with a permanent scowl. The scowling teacher asked the boy, "Boy, have you thought about what you will do once you graduate from school?" "Yes, sir, I want to become a technician." "Why do you want to become a technician?" "Because I know 2 men from my village who are technicians with good jobs." "Why don't you become a doctor?" "A doctor? Sir, no one from our village has ever become a doctor." The teacher replied with a rare smile on his face, "I believe you will be the first. I believe you will be the first." These few words changed that boy's life. He started to believe in himself. 8 years later, he became the first and the only doctor from his village. Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, there is an old Chinese saying, "A frog living in a well cannot understand the depth of an ocean." Sometimes we are those frogs who can't see beyond the imaginary wall around us. We let our world get small. We can make it bigger, and it all starts with believing in ourselves, just like that boy did. He didn't just make his world bigger, he made the world of everyone around him bigger as well. He grew up, got married, had 2 kids. He grew up believing in themselves, went to the top universities of the country, and are now leading successful careers. One of them is standing right in front of you. I wouldn't be here today had my father not believed in himself. He didn't just make his world bigger, he made my world bigger as well. On a hot summer day in Pakistan in 2012, I was sitting, sweating like a guest doing table topics at my work. My boss, a tall, dark, and not so handsome man, came up to me and said, "Zen, our corporate overlords have decided to close down this office. You have 2 options. Go to Poland or go home." Poland, you say, huh? It's cold there, right? That's all I knew about Poland, that it is cold. My heart whispered, "Let's go on an adventure." But a more scary voice screamed at me, "You want to go to Poland? You don't know anything about their culture, language, food. You will live a miserable life." I was confused. I did the one thing every confused man does. "Dad, can you please help me decide?" "My son, don't let your fear guide you. Have the courage to follow your heart." And so started my 7-year adventure in a country I knew nothing about. I landed in Poland in middle of winter, and God, it was cold. Yet, because I had the courage to follow my heart, my world became bigger. Since then, I have traveled to over 25 countries, made lifelong friends, and moved from snowy Poland to rainy Ireland without hesitation. I even convinced Sonia, a smart, beautiful, and sometimes scary Russian woman, that this can make a good husband. Now, Sonia comes from cold north of Russia. I come from hot south of Pakistan. We are poles apart. When we met, the birds sang, the sparks flew, and our world became bigger. My heart whispered, "I want to spend the rest of my life with this girl." A scary voice screamed again, "You want to marry a Russian now, do you? Have you thought this through? What will your kids play? Ice hockey or cricket? What will they celebrate? Christmas or Eid? what they will be, Russian or Pakistanis. I didn't know any of that. In my confusion, I asked the one person I knew would understand. Sonia. Sam, I trust you. Do you trust me? Of course I do. Then we have our whole lives to figure this out. We'll create our own culture, our own celebration, and when we will have kids, they will not be just Pakistani and Russian. Let's add in some Irish as well. Thanks to trusting each other, we have not only made our world bigger, we have made the world of our future kids bigger as well. Believing in ourselves, having the courage to follow our heart and trust in others can make your world bigger. Sometimes you are that young boy who just needs to believe in himself to do something that no one around him has ever done before. Sometimes you're that sweaty young man who just needs a bit of courage and some warm clothes to go out and explore the world. And sometimes you're that nervous romantic who just needs to trust in their smarter half. You can start making your world bigger. Look to your friends. Look to your colleagues. Look to the people on your screens. They are not just fellow human beings. They are the doors to a whole new world. Have the belief, courage, and trust to knock on that door, say hi, and keep making your world bigger.
Thank you. Our final speaker will be doing her advanced communication series, the Successful Club series number 8, Keeping the Commitment. I would like to ask for 3 volunteers to be the evaluator, a round robin evaluator, 1 minute each for this speaker. Can I just ask for volunteer first before I continue? May I ask Dr. Mokis to be one of the volunteers, please? Is it okay with you? Thank you. How about Lee Buckley? Is okay with Lee Buckley? Lee Buckley, can I ask you to be the next evaluator? Do I see a hand somewhere? Oh, thank you. And can I also ask Vikas Ramrat to be the 3rd evaluator? Vikas. Vikas, are you there? Can I have a show of hand that you are okay to evaluate this speaker? Vikas. All right, I think he may not be there. What about Clifton James? Thank you so much. The speaker is allowed 10 to 15 minutes for her speech. At the end of 10 minutes, the green screen will be shown. At 12 minutes 30 seconds, the amber screen will be shown. And at 15 minutes, the red screen will be shown. And the speaker has 30 seconds to wrap up before the buzzer sounds. The title of the speech is Commitment is Action, Not Word. I had already introduced the speaker earlier as she's the R counter. She is Pallavi Singh. Pallavi, please. Pallavi, are you there?
The mic.
Thank you.
Okay, Alicia, can I request you to unmute my other device instead of this one because I get echo over here. Thank you. Okay, just testing. Okay, I think today I'm having some problem. I still can get echo, but still I'll try. Okay, to start off, let me pin.
Turn off the volume of one of your device.
Yeah, it's off, but still, I think this is the first time it's happening with me that I'm getting echo even if I use either of the devices. Okay, can everyone hear me now? Okay, perfect. I've disconnected the other device. Sorry for the time taken. And one quick check, if I pin the timer, will I still be able to share the screen? No, then I can't pin the timer. Okay, Peter is saying yes, and Alicia is saying no. Okay, sorry everyone, I'll just start off. Okay. Since we have today been listening to various stories, I'll just add on one more to the series. And I've given it a twist to make it follow the commitment story that I would like to share with everyone today. So once upon a time, a farmer with his donkey was passing by the jungle. And the donkey had become quite old. So he was a bit tired as well. Now what happened was, while walking through the jungle, there was a pit, and the poor donkey, he didn't realize, and he just fell into it. The farmer thought, how should I take this donkey out from the pit? And thinking to give up, what he did, he thought was, it's better I bury the donkey over here and no one will get to know. And anyways, the donkey has become old. So he took a shovel from his bag and he started throwing the soil into the pit. Now over here, the donkey was with a different mode of commitment. He was committed to his life. He was committed to breed more. So every time the farmer threw the soil into the pit, the donkey used to shrug it off and jump over it. Every time the soil was thrown on him, he just shrugged it off and he came up. Gradually, what happened, step by step, the donkey was at the same ground as the ground level of the jungle and the donkey was out. So good evening, dear fellow Toastmasters from all over the world, and wishing you all a fabulous Friday. Today, I'm talking about commitment. Commitment is the most important thing for any person to start off anything, be an organization, be it an individual. Everything is governed by a certain set of values and principles. And that set of values and principles keep the person driving on. And it's very important that these principles are there inscribed into our mind as well as our heart, because these values and principles will help us to go even in the odds of time, as happened with the poor donkey. And today again, I would like to quote one of the sayings from Sinek was, dream big, start small, but the most important of all is to start. So dear fellow Toastmasters, if you have really embarked on your journey of Toastmasters, the first and the most important thing is your commitment. Commitment first to participate. Be it any meeting, anywhere you get an opportunity, especially your own club, do make it a point that you participate. Never wait for a perfect opportunity or a perfect speech, well-crafted speech with a visual aid. Like right now, what happened? My visual aid is ready, but the host has disabled my screen sharing, right? So I've got no other options just to sail on, because there's no perfect way. Even in the COVID current situation, we see that just one after other, we are being thrown off with various challenges. And if we have our commitment there with us, we can definitely overcome the challenge and we can become a champion. So the three most important principles for any Toastmasters is to participate. I repeat, participate irrespective of you are prepared or not, but it is always advised to prepare your speech well, because a well preparedness is your way to the success. If you are prepared, you will generally progress over time and become a champion in your own world. Second, the most important thing is to interact. I would like to share a very fond memory from my own very first club, Punggol Park Toastmasters Club. The very first time I entered into that club, I was, as such, I am not an introvert as well as introvert. I'm somewhere midway. So I was a bit shy, but I was ready to interact with everyone. So a person came up to me and he handed over me this thing. And so far, I have never seen any club giving this away, but yes, I have safely kept it. And to your shock, the person who gave me this band, a welcome band of the Toastmasters International, was Darren Tay, the world champion. Because at that time, he was the president of our club, and he was in a couple of months going to participate in the international speech like Zan would be going. So that's a really warm gesture. So it's very important for every Toastmaster to be interactive. Interact to every fellow other Toastmasters. Now I would like to quote a real life example of our SG English Online Toastmasters Club. You name, like Panos is in the hit list, followed by Willie, Alicia, Shanshan. You just name them one after another. They all are over here. You just need to reach up to them and they are there with a plethora of helps that will really bring you into a very, very, very comfort zone, and you'll definitely progress. You are bound to progress if the club members are very interactive, and I think it's really a blissful environment in any of the Toastmasters that people are so supportive. And not only that, even by the way of evaluations, like even a diamond is not a shining stone. It's not worth it. But the diamond needs polishing. And with our every speech, we are being polished by the feedbacks given by the evaluators. And the most awe-inspiring thing in me that I found when I joined my first Toastmasters Club was the feedback was so subtle, so soft that you didn't even realize that what was your feedback. And eventually over the time, you just overcome one by one all of the limitations that anyone could have it. So yes, it's very important that you should interact to make yourself comfortable and the other person who is trying to join or who's trying to overcome one of their fears. Now, today's example, our Toastmaster of the evening, Jennifer, even during the recess time, she took an extra effort to mingle up, to listen to the persons who have joined our club for the first time. So such cordial environments are really very helpful in developing the confidence and boosting the confidence. And because like in management, we have heard that managers are born, but managers are made also. So all of us over here, some of us are born speakers, but some of us can be made speakers. And Toastmasters is the perfect platform where you can be made a speaker. So do and catch the opportunity. And the last one is M. Now M stands for two things. Always follow the guidelines. It's very, very imperative for any Toastmaster to follow the guidelines and always be giving. Once you are giving away, so like it's like knowledge is like sharing. The more we share, the more we get to know. Now today's speaker number 6, Doreen Neo, she talked about overcoming odds. And in her speech, I think she mentioned how because of the Toastmasters support within the club, she was able to join a platform which she was not at all comfortable with. She joined the SG Online Toastmasters Club. Not only that, she joined with the challenge of coming up on a digital platform first, then moving forward to another challenge using that platform, then coming on camera and then not looking at the script and just going on. So dear fellow Toastmasters, to conclude, I would like to say that your commitment comes from three things being a Toastmaster and even in your personal life. Participate fully. Just by saying that I want to become a Toastmaster, you won't become a Toastmaster. You need to show it in your actions because action speaks louder than words. And if you are there, you are there and you'll make a place for yourself for sure. Secondly, interact. Shed off all the fears. We all are sailing on the same boat and we all are there to help out each other. It's just a matter of taking that extra step and reaching out. Lastly, always manage the guidelines and the guests. Always show a warm gesture to the guests so that they are there to understand that yes, everyone in that particular club is to welcome you. And they can cherish the memories like I've kept this memory with me for so long. Lastly, I would like to say that we at Toastmasters never lose. We either win or we learn and we prepare to bounce back at the next turn. And with this, I wish our guest, Zan, for his international speech that we all wish you all the best for your upcoming international speech. And we should always remember that Toastmasters are where the leaders are made and we all are leaders in making. So all the best to all of us. Keep committed, show your actions. Thank you so much.
The host has stopped my video. Thank you. Thank you, Pallavi. So now that's the final speaker. Did you say something? I can't hear you. Pallavi, did you say something? Can you all hear me? Thank you.
Timer report.
Yeah. Could I have timer's report for all speakers, all qualified? Peter? Can all of you vote for the best speaker? And for the ninth speaker, Zain, he had actually shared his Google form. I hope you have already copied the browser and also vote or give him the feedback. All done? Peter, do you need more time or it's okay?
Speaker 4 exceeded timing.
Speaker 4. Human choice, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Except for human, the rest, can you please vote?
Up one more. Alicia also exceeded.
So 2 speakers have exceeded the timing, so they're not eligible for the vote. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Let us now proceed to part 3 part 3 of our meeting, speech evaluation segment. Each speech evaluator is given 2 to 3 minutes. At the end of 2 minutes, the green screen will be shown. At 2.5 or 2 minutes 30 seconds, the amber screen will be shown, and at 3 minutes, the red screen will be shown. The evaluator has 30 seconds to wrap up his or her evaluation before the buzzer sound. Evaluator number 1 for the speech given by Fiona Chen is Asmina Gulani. Asmina, may I ask you to give a short description of yourself because I don't have that. So timer, please take note, do not time her until she gives a brief description. And once she starts evaluating, then you time her. Okay, thank you so much. Asmina. Let's welcome Asmina.
My name is Asmina Gulani, and I am from Canada, Mississauga, Ontario. And I work with my husband in garment company, and I do selling and marketing. So I can start now?
Yes.
So the topic today was very interesting, how to survive being a mom. She explained how the kids behave and what the parents should be doing with such kids. The gestures were excellent. There were no visual aids. Energy was moderate. It wasn't interactive. The eye contact was good. The language was clear. Confidence was good. The clarity was excellent. The vocal variety was excellent. Eye contact was excellent. And the audience awareness was exemplary. Comfort level was exemplary. As interest, engaged audience with was also exemplary. She used the alliteration physically. Punishment is not mandate. And she used the value of 3. See or hear, just picture yourself. There was a lot of use of alliteration as well, other alliteration as well. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
For stand-up comedians and has a blog of comic. Let us put our hands together to welcome ACGALB Angela Lansbury from this club as well. Thank you, Angela, please.
Thank you very much. Now, I am evaluating Naveen, and I was very interested in his speech. It's one of the most exciting speeches I've heard. First of all, he was so positive when he started. He said, "A stellar evening." That put me in a good mood straight away. And the second most exciting thing was this story of how the centaur was an idea created by people who saw a man on a horse and thought it was all one item. Now, I've had a similar experience going through a safari. We were told to keep our arms inside the Jeep because that way the animals would think that we weren't a group of humans, but we were a solid, big Jeep, bigger than a lion or anything else. So I thought this was a fascinating idea. I'd never known the origin of the centaur. Then his story about the banana, seeing a man and thinking the nose was and the phone was a banana. This was a story of mistaken visuals, and he asked if we'd all experienced this, and most people had. I certainly had. So this was a story which certainly resonated with all of us. He related to the audience, which I thought was excellent. Now, at this point, I'm going to start making some suggestions. He could have had a banana. He could have had a drawing of a man, a bit like these drawings you see, which are all the fashion nowadays. Can you spot the skis amongst the dancers or something? He could have said, can you spot the man with the banana, and so on, and have a little drawing. That would have made it absolutely perfect. The second story I wasn't quite so sure about. It had one problem that I could see, which is that the word pants in America is different to the word pants in England. In England, we say trousers and pants, and Americans say pants and underpants. So that muddles up the story. That could be another joke. Altogether, it was the most entertaining speech. I absolutely loved it. With a few props, it could be absolutely spot on. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Next, evaluator number 3 for the speech given by distinguished Toastmaster Li Shanshan is a member of the club from Greece. Let us put our hands together to welcome ACGALB Panos Corellis. Panos, please.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening, for this warm welcome and applause. Fellow Toastmasters from around the world. Shanshan. Bang! Look at that. Shanshan just banged her head on the window again. It all happens when you're locked up inside. Shanshan, you gave us a hint with your speech title, Introvert Living the Best Life, that you're gonna give us a positive tune in our everyday lives, and you succeeded in that. You launched straight into a story with a strong statement. You went like, bye, I'm leaving now. So you had me at hello because I was wondering what comes next. Shanshan is telling me a story. And then you continued with it and you combined that with some questions like, am I supposed to work or not to work? I could connect. I'm going through the exact same thing. Then you referred to others, like they never check the schedule. And then you talked about being surprised. Here's a suggestion. Show that. Like they never check their schedule. Then another point. Now, what I want to say is, how about asking now, what I want to ask you is, how many times have you had a morning like that, getting up and hitting your head straight with a bang? One other thing you can be trying out is leading by example. For example, now I want to ask you, so lead the audience, show your hand and lead the audience so that we know to respond to you. So you keep building this relationship you have started with sharing your story. Then you talked about work, play, and video. Is there any routine to it? I detected subtle irony there, which I like that. I could connect to that as well. Then you came to the learning from your story. How many of you have the luxury of spending time with the family? Eloquently said. And then you told us what to do, and you told us what to do again. And then you told us what to do a third time. How about showing us how you do it? How about giving us another story with how you are spending time with your family at home? All in all, show, don't tell. Take us there. Take us in your everyday life. Keep selecting stories that are relatable. And when you say bang, just go bang. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Panos.
May I remind all evaluators to try and use the word of the day? Thank you. Our evaluator for the speech given by Human Choi is Nikos Pavlopoulos. Sorry, I need your introduction. I don't have it. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together to welcome her. Oh, him, yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Jennifer. Yes, the name is Pavlopoulos. I'm also from Greece, and I am also a member from the HAU club that Panos is as well. So, my evaluation tonight about Huming. Let me tell you my part of the story, what I saw tonight. Tonight I went online. I went into Instagram, and I saw an Instagram post, an Instagram profile from an aspiring humoristic speaker, Huming. Huming had a very good virtual stage presence. He had a nice background, he stood in front of the camera, a clear, direct look at the camera while delivering his speech, very good delivery and very good eye contact. And he used a central message. The message, change, personal change. And using this as a humor was a very, very effective tool. And you know why? Because as they say, a very good joke almost always has someone as a victim. And using his own self as a victim was one of the safest ways to be humorous and one of the safest ways to show vulnerability. So I scroll down and I see his two stories. The first story about his father and his childhood years when he was having some bad influences and he started smoking. And his father surprised him by his reaction about this. And next story about another bad thing he did while he was a child, trying to steal a bicycle, and also a surprising reaction from his parents. In both of his stories, he used a very effective technique, the technique of incongruity. And incongruity is what the modern comedians are using, building expectations, and as they build expectations, bam, they break them with a punchline. Or, as I read recently by Immanuel Kant, when humor is when you build up the expectations and these expectations suddenly turn into nothing. Very good use of this effective technique. A suggestion for improvement on this particular case would be to to use a little bit more effectively the pacing and the timing in order to make it a little bit more intense. For example, in the first story, what Humane could have done would be, I went with my father outside, he was silent. I felt that he was angry. He raised his hand and he asked me to bump him a cigarette, building like very robust expectations and then bam, breaking them more effectively for everyone. All in all, I really liked the speech, even though I felt like regarding timing and regarding planning on his timing delivery felt a little bit abrupt on his transition from the main body to the closing. In his closing, he also he finished as he started, using vulnerability and using a story that has as the target himself. So he managed to leave me with a smile. So overall, I really liked what I saw tonight as a humorous speech. I really enjoyed the delivery. So I'm scrolling back to the profile and I'm clicking follow. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nikos. Our evaluator for the speech given by Minashi is a distinguished Toastmaster, past District 2 Governor, and officer in 3 brick and mortar clubs. Let us put our hands together to welcome Dennis Ham. Dennis, please.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and Mina. Tonight you were working on a project to interpret poetry. And I think that we might have had a little bit of misunderstanding here, but I'm going to evaluate you based on what you did. You gave us you picked a poem by Robert Frost, a very famous poem, and you basically took it apart and and actually interpreted each part of the poem. There are 4 stanzas to the poem, and you broke it apart by each stanza and explained how you thought that the poem was interpreted, or how Robert Frost meant it to be read. I'm going to go back now and start over again, in that what I would suggest that you do, instead of the way that you presented it, you actually were supposed to give us the verbal interpretation and read the poem the way that Robert Frost would have delivered it, or he would have spoken it. And I think that would be better for us if we actually had heard the entire poem first, and then you went back and broke it apart by piece into 4 different parts like you did. I enjoyed the way you did it as far as interpreting each block of the poem. I think you did that very well. But I think that if we had heard the poem first, or at least as a minimum, if you had read each stanza and then went back and interpreted what you just read, I think that would be a lot better. The project actually was for you to try to use more vocal variety, and the way you actually did it, it didn't allow for that. So I'm torn as to how to evaluate your presentation, because you did part of it, you did interpret poetry, but you did it in a slightly different way than I think the project had intended. So I said that your overall interpretation of the poem was good, but I would suggest that for another project like this, that the way it was written, it does explain that you're supposed to talk about it and use emotions and look at the rhythm and rhyme of the poem, which I did not hear. But overall, your presentation was good in the fact that you did interpret each part of the poem. However, we didn't hear the entire poem to get the whole flavor of it. So I would suggest that if you were to do this again, that you would read the poem first and then go back and look at each block by block. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Dennis, our evaluator for the speech given by Doreen Neo is none other than our earlier speaker, Pallavi. Pallavi, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Embrace the change to overcome the odd. Embrace the change to overcome the odd. And Doreen, I pronounce your speech for today as wow. It was simply wow. And the journey you made was awesome and awesome. So my entire evaluation for you would be on the WOW acronym. Now, what all wow factors that I found in your speech was the progress you made was clearly visible. And the first thing that made me bond to you, even not looking at your screen, was your voice. It had an attraction that can draw the audience towards you. When you speak, you have such a poised body language, such a sweet, calm, and soothing voice with a lot of vocal variety. As a speaker, you are a very, very poised speaker. And the best part in all these things was you shared your own personal examples, which are so recent that we all could relate to it. And in fact, we are literally seeing you overcoming all those odds and coming out as simply an awesome champion today. Now, what I observed was the journey that you have made. Your journey was, as I said, clear. You were shy, you were introvert, you never wanted to come out, but still you made a journey of the Toastmasters. Not only that, a challenge of COVID was thrown upon all of us, but you again came out as winner because you said you didn't resist, you grabbed hold of the opportunity, and today you are here as one of the champions because you have really made your speech a nice, successful speech. Now, lastly, I would like to add on certain factors which can bring a wow factor to your speech and can enhance your journey furthermore by making you overcome furthermore odds in your journey. Now, what can they be? First and the foremost and the last thing I would suggest that is left to overcome any kind of odds are to use visual aids. I think that would be a gem in the crown of your entire presentation. I wish you would have used a presentation to show the progression of your journey, bumping down, then again bouncing back, the support from the fellow Toastmasters. It all could have made, it's like mixing up the entire salad together and then served you on a wonderful platter. So one ingredient, or you can say one of the mayonnaise missing was the screen sharing or the visual presentation. And I think if you add on, you're ready on there to wow all the audience anywhere, any board, any platform. Wishing you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you so much. Our evaluator for the speech given by Vikana Chaudhary is Emmanuel Ojavumi. Emmanuel Ojavumi, can you please introduce yourself, a short description? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel, and I'm a project manager here in Nigeria, and I'm also the club president of Jamestown Toastmasters. I have the privilege of evaluating Toastmaster Vikana Chaudhary. Wake up and smell the coffee. What a speech. You see, Toastmaster Vikana took us on a space travel right from my sitting room in Nigeria to Ohio. And to my right, I could see Charles. And to my left, I could see Susan. And of course, right in the middle of the whole scene is Toastmaster Vikana. That was excellent and descriptive speech. And that actually is one of the highlights of the speech. I could see myself in the body of the storytelling speech, and that is quite amazing. Another thing that really caught my attention is the vocal variety. I mean, I could see the soft voice of Susan, Toastmaster Vikara's dorm mate, and his classmates, Charles, his very husky voice. I mean, that was really wonderful. He was able to modulate his voice from the softness of a lady to the harsh, husky voice of a man. I mean, that was amazing. I want to give you kudos for that simple, concise, and clear description of your speech. I want to say that you're a good speaker and you are exhibiting a very good characteristics of a good speaker. Now, if you ask me, Emmanuel, what do you think I should have done better? I think for the benefit of the speaker, I would like to suggest two main points he may wish to consider for further improvement. The first is I would like him to incorporate action into the elements of his storytelling. I mean, there was plot, the plot was excellent, the setting was wonderful, the characters were clear. But I think the action part, usually the use of body language was not good enough. And I think going forward is something he should continually improve as he progresses in his Toastmasters journey. And the last part that I was waiting for was the twist of the plot. I was waiting for that. I didn't see it. And I think that was mixed up probably in the middle of the speech. So I want to see next time that we all see clearly the twist at the end of the speech. Overall, something caught my attention at the last part of the speech, and that was the closing statement. He says, I was the slowest Teddy, and I won the race. As we move on in our Toastmasters journey, no matter how slow you are, just be assured that if you keep on moving, you are going to win eventually. Ladies and gentlemen, what a speech. Congratulations, Toastmaster Vikara. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Our evaluator number 8 for the speech given by Alicia Chia is Faith Bauer. Faith, please, can I also have a brief description of you because I've not received any. Thank you very much. Timer, please note.
Okay, hello everyone. Hello Toastmasters and my friends. My name is Faith Bauer. I am a Nigerian and I am a member of the Millennium Toastmasters Club in Abuja. And I got the honor to evaluate Toastmaster Alicia from Toastmaster Emmanuel, and I thought it was fantastic to see. All right, so can I go ahead with my evaluation?
Yes.
Okay. Toastmaster Alicia, it was quite a delight listening to you speak as you connected to the heart of all of your audience. I saw the expressions on the faces of your audiences as you spoke, from the keen gaze of Toastmaster Dorian, to the pain countenance on Toastmaster Asman, down to the somewhat sad looks on Pontus' face, who placed his finger on his chin as he listened to your heart-to-heart, yet touching speech. I really like to commend you for choosing the topic heart-to-heart. You really connected with us, to us, pardon me. I appreciated most importantly your use of vocal variety as you drove home your point. Your narrative was well structured. You went from the high tones to the low tones, especially when you had a dialogue, somewhat like a dialogue with a mother and son in the third story. I really commend that effort so much. This simply means you have achieved your speech objectives, which require that you arouse the emotions of your audiences. I give that to you. I tried and tried and tried, and I even scratched even deeper to look for a possible recommendation. I found almost none. But then, for such a fantastic speech as yours, I thought that if you had given a personal story, you gave 3 stories, but if you had included a personal story, it would have been more impactful. That's not to say that your story never was impactful. No, you connected to our heart. And again, if you had engaged your audience by throwing a question, maybe from the beginning, that would have engaged us. So if you had incorporated audience engagement in your speech, it would have been fantastic. Nevertheless, I appreciated your speech from start to finish. And again, one thing that was really outstanding about your speech was the incorporation of the biblical allusion when you made reference to a quote by John. You said, "From dust we come, from dust shall we return." I thought that was really brilliant. Well done, Toastmaster Alicia. And again, I really appreciated how that your story was timely and relevant, how that you incorporated the recent times, the COVID-19 pandemic situation by the use of a prop. The Mac sold you out. I really admired your speech, and I look forward to hearing more of your speech if I have the opportunity to come back again and be a part of your speech. Over to you, the Toastmaster.
For speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Zain Abidin, we all have given our evaluation by filling in the feedback, so I won't be going through that. So I'll be going to the next evaluator, for the last speaker, Pallavi Singh. We have Dr. Mukis, the first evaluator, then Lee Buckley, and then James Clifton. Each has 1 minute. So we start with Dr. Mukis. Dr. Mukis, please. Can you just tell us a little bit about you first?
Sure, I'm so proud to be in this group. This is a dynamic group of 80 people who started in the beginning. I'm from Niagara Falls, New York. I've been a Toastmaster for 20 plus years in at least 30 or 40 different clubs. I love Toastmastering because people like Pallavi makes it more appealing. She described her first walk into a meeting and then given the ribbon that she displayed. That was awesome. Keeping memory, giving us a feeling of our own that when we received that first ribbon, be it best table topic or best speaker. Her voice was excellent. Her audio system really worked well. She's an accomplished speaker. I'm looking to see her get her DTM quickly and probably even go to the world stage of international speaking contest. For improvement, only thing I can say would be small pauses. Also in every speech, there is always improvement to structure, to connect, and then repeating the word, which you did very well. One small element to use would be some humor, some joke. Like we tell in America all the time, how do you go to Carnegie Hall? Anybody know here? How do you go to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. It's something that I can start in any meeting because most people in the audience know a good musician, a good movie maker, a good writer. How do they get there? By practicing and practicing and practicing. I could learn a lot from Panos at his energy level when he speaks as a speaker or evaluator. Pallavi, you have the same quality, just more enthusiasm, more energy, and hopefully you will do very well. I hope my 1 minute is up. I didn't see any sign yet.
Timer, 1 minute.
Did I get 1 minute or I'm still can go on?
John?
It is, sorry, you cannot, I cannot unmute. I'm sorry, I cannot unmute.
You do now, I can hear you.
Can I? Okay, yeah, you have exceeded, I'm sorry, but I didn't know when it was green and yellow for you since you were like already 1 minute, so you have
Right, no problem. No problem. I'm sorry if I spoke more, but I think it's a great speech. I appreciate
Thank
and
you.
I enjoyed the evaluations of all the other evaluators. They're great. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Our next evaluator is Lee Buckley. Can you also give us a short description? Timer, please note. During description, no need to time. 1 minute only. Lee Buckley, please.
Hi, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Lee Buckley. I'm connecting tonight from Sydney, Australia. I have been a past division director in 2 districts in Australia, District 70 and District 90. I will start my evaluation now. Yep. Commitment is action, not word. I agree with Panos when he typed in the chat box that we should vote Pallavi to be the Toastmasters Goodwill Ambassador. Well done, Pallavi. Pallavi was passionate about sharing with us, as well as reminding us of the 3 commitments we made as Toastmasters. I love her storytelling technique in how she outlined the 3 key points she shared, and she also used personal experiences like her experience with Darren Tay and when she received the ribbon, as well as linking to previous speakers like Doreen and Zane in her speech. To challenge her, I would like to offer a couple of areas for personal growth. The first is more as online speaker in terms of technical. And I would like to offer suggestions in terms of virtual background as well as audio and sound checks. With the use of virtual background, it's good when you cover your background. The other thing you have to look out for is when I'll just demonstrate a bit with hand gestures. A lot of times when you have hand gestures, it creates wave in the virtual background. So that is something that we should be aware of as online speakers. Remember, we don't have a second chance at giving or making a good first impression. So things that would distract us in terms of the audience attention from us, being good speakers, will be little things like background, okay, such as virtual background movements and waves, as well as any technical issues with sound checks. Thank you, Pallavi, for your powerful, persuasive speech and for reminding us of our commitment as Toastmasters. Like what you said, Toastmasters, where leaders are made. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. This evaluator is James Clifton. Also, please give us a brief description, and you have 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you. Fabulous morning, everyone from Singapore. I'm from District 80, Nee Soon East Toastmaster Club. Let's move on. Pallavi, I think any good speech requires organization and structure, and you did a perfect job there. You know, I really enjoy listening to a personal anecdote. I'm sure everyone does. It's that gossipy feel that the audience always gets attracted to. So that's fabulous. But having said that, when you want to share your story, perhaps you may not want to say, I would like to add on to the story, because it takes away kind of the value. Maybe you might want to consider saying, I have a tale to add greater emphasis to what my fellow speakers have said. In that sense, it gives you brevity when you're speaking. And try to slow down a little bit. Sometimes a speech with too much of a speed flow draws the line between brevity and ranting. You know, at certain points, I almost felt anger and ferocity instead of being inspired. But having said that, if you had slowed it down a little bit, it would have helped for me to be persuaded by what you had shared. Another thing you might want to consider would be, instead of saying first and then and so on, perhaps you could say things like, let me tell you this. Number one, listen carefully. This is what I have. And then after you said it, number two. So later on when you end, your 1, 2, and 3 would be the takeaways for your audience, as well as the judges who knows that there is a climax to what you're saying. All in all, I think you did fantastically well. Perhaps with these things, you'll perform even better and be number 1 at the district level. Okay, thank you, Table Topics Master. I'm sorry, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Now we come to this segment where our counter will give us the report. So may I ask Pallavi, please tell us your report.
Okay, yeah. Once again, a fabulous Friday to everyone. So I'll start with Shantaya Scott. She has used AND 7 times and fellow Toastmasters 2 times. And I pronounce Mr. Rahman, Dr. M. Rahman, clean, clear, and perfect. Miss Micron used 2 ands. Robin Chan, 2 R's, 2 Unos, 6 so's, 2 likes, 1 but, 3. Anna Juris, okay, yeah, her speech was really fabulous. She kept me going and going, and like I kept on noting. So it's 2 R's, 2 arms, 3 that, 1 so, 2 maybe, 2 buts, and 7 ands. Thomas Chen, 1 so, ladies and gentlemen 3 times, and 10 times. Clifton James, perhaps was the repeated word 4 times, and was used 2 times. Li Shan Shan, there were 4 R's, 3 so's. Repetition was because, now that, and your and was 5 times. Meena, 4 so's, 5 buts, a lot of repetitions of if, use, now, kind of, maybe, definitely, and I pronounced the most favorite word used by Meena was probably. Vikrana, 2 R's, 1 but, a repetitive use of I think, you know, and 5 ands. Coming up to our president, Willie had 2 so's and a repetition of I mean. Jennifer had 11 R's, 2 arms, 5 so's, 3 ands. Okay, all right, were repetitive words. Now Joanne, 1 R's, 1 arms, you know 10 times. So 2, like 2 times. but 2 times, what, kind of. Yeah, these were the repetitive words. Angela, it's like now, that, then, and 14 ands. CJ is 1 so and 1 okay. Viona, okay, Viona pronounced clear. Naveen, 1 1 well, 4 so's. Repetitive words are actually, you know, and 7 ands. Lee Shan Shan, okay, Humi had a lot of ands. I stopped counting, it was 20 plus. 15 or 17 so's, 4 hours, and 4 buts. Vikrana pronounced clean. Alicia, 1 so, 1 but, now, because, and 5 ands. And Pallavi, for myself, I think I had 5 ands, 3 or 4 so's, and rest I didn't know.
No. I wanted to clear the table.
Sorry? Okay. Zanul, our champion in making all clear. Azmina, 1 hours, 2 so's, and repetitive word is, and 5 ands. Panos, 4 likes, that, and then was repeated 2 times. Nikos, 2 hours, 7 so's, you know, because. These are the repetitive words, and is 2 times. Dennis, 1 I think, 1 but, okay, and you were repetitive words, and 7 ands. Emmanuel, 2 hours, 1 that, I mean, I want, and now. These are the repetitive words followed by 4 ands. Faith Baba, 1 hour, 1 so. Repetitive words were I mean and 2 ands. With this, I pronounce it to be a wonderful speech by everyone. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
We need to vote for our evaluator. Can all of you please vote for the best evaluator? Before I go to the next segment, Peter, are we done? Peter, can I proceed?
Yes. Sorry, I was muted. I was talking while muted. Now, it's 51%. Can you give them 5 more seconds?
Okay.
50%?
It's okay?
Okay, we can end it now.
Thank you. Our next segment is the language evaluation report. May I call upon Angela Lansbury, please? Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. I shall start with the words which I heard, the positive words which opened the meeting, that it was a fabulous Friday. Well done to Joan for being so positive. She was calm and positive about the changes to the program and used an excellent welcoming phrase. She talked about somebody stepping in and thanked them. I also particularly liked many of the quotations we had. Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela and Mahatma Gandhi, all people we know and like, but they were all new quotations to me, so I thought they were very well chosen. I will now go on to some of the ways in which I can help you to come up with improvements to phrases you use which could be used differently. First one I heard was for online meeting. I would have said for an online meeting. A couple of different people said the whirl, and I thought, oh, a whirl. It wasn't the whirl, it was the world. Please use the D. Can I hear everybody say world? World. Not whirl, that's a whirl. It's a world. Then I thought Joan is called Joan, but somebody thought Joan is called Joanne. I think perhaps we could get an explanation of this earlier on so we're sure how her name is pronounced. Somebody said join Toastmasters Club. I would have said join a Toastmasters Club. Someone said the way how. I would have said simply the way. The word how isn't needed. Somebody said Toastmasters of the day. We only had one Toastmaster of the day, so I don't know who the phantom was. Somebody said every areas of your life. It's every area of your life. Someone said an introduction of yourself. I have a slight preference for an introduction to yourself. Somebody said when fight occurs. I would have preferred when a fight occurs. And then somebody talked about a toemaster. I thought that was very exciting. I mean, if we have all these toes and we're master of all our toes, I would suggest that you make the word clear and talk about a toastmaster, not just the toe master. I think perhaps the toe master should be something we should bring in. Somebody else said go to office. I would have said go to the office. And somebody said my day off. I would have said one of my days off. Then another all over the world. All over the world. Someone else said I was panic. You were a panic. I think that what they meant was I was panicked. It's a passive. The situation was a panic, but I was panicked. Somebody said tortoise correctly. I was very pleased because a lot of people say tortoise. Although there's an I in it, it's pronounced tortoise. Somebody dropped their G's and said, speak in, touch in, arouse in, tell in, and have in. Now you could argue that this is a dialect, but if you're speaking to an audience all around the world, it's much easier to understand if the G is added to all the words that are ing. Otherwise, walk in and walking get muddled up. Someone said, I replied her. I'd have said, replied to her. And somebody said advices, and someone else said advice. I'd have just said a piece of advice or several pieces of advice. Now here comes another interesting one. Somebody said 20 plus. Now I think that's an Americanism. The Singlish would be 20 over, and the British would be more than 20. Then what else did I hear that I liked? Very quickly, I liked happy-go-lucky, a very happy phrase. From Alicia, we had scorching and scintillating, an alliteration, two S sounds together. We've also heard about a fond memory, and polished like diamonds, and a dynamic group from our guest. And from Lee Buckley, we heard that Pallavi was positive. She was clean, clear, and perfect. And then we ended with Pallavi again. on a fabulous Friday. What a lovely way to end. It's actually Saturday, but think of it as a super Saturday and a fabulous Friday. Thank you so much, everybody. Back to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Angela. Now we would like to acknowledge the best speakers for table topics, prepared speech, and evaluation. Let me call upon our club president, Willie, to present the ribbons. Willie, please. Willie. Willie, you're on mute. Okay.
Let me turn all the virtual screens. First, the best table topic speaker go to Clifton James for District 80, Singapore, Nisu East, Toastmasters Club. The best prepared speaker go to Pallavi.
President, hang on. Can we highlight Clifford for photo taking? The ribbon screen is already put up already.
You do it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Hang on. All right, smile, Clifford. Wait, another one with the whole gallery view. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Best prepared speaker go to Pallavi Singh for Singapore Online Toastmasters Club.
Pallavi, did you? Oh, yes, wonderful. Hang on. Pallavi, hang on. Let me spotlight you and take another photo. Hang on. Smile, Pallavi. Got it.
As the best Evaluator, there's a tie. So it's Nikos for his Toastmaster Club. It's one Toastmaster Club and Pallavi for Singapore Online. Congrats.
President, I don't have enough time to send them the virtual background.
It's okay. We can do it offline. Nico says you can send it to Nico and Nico can do offline and send it to.
Yeah, Nico, stay for the after party and we'll put on your photos for you.
Okay. So over back to now is the last part of the session where we close our meeting, where I say the final words. Do you know how long did we take? Did we have this meeting? Close to 4 hours. It's 3 hours and 52 minutes. We are going to close 4 hours. Actually, it's not a new record. We have one 2 months ago. Every speaker for table topic to prepare speech to evaluator, including the 3 round robin evaluator. You have shown the spirit. You have shown us the tone of the message tonight. Why so? Because we have speaker for Asia, Europe, and the Americas and the Oceania. Oceania means the Australian continent. This shows that you have used vocal variety that we learn in the basic menu for the traditional program, vocal variety. We have to remember this, what our roots are. The basic fundamental of public speaking. For those people who are in pathway, you will get to learn what is vocal routing in the lab, one of the menu speeches. Many of us will have a different tone when we speak to people, and the message. Sometimes we forget 4 basic items. Listen, think, speak, and do. The moment we mess up the order, we end up speaking with no answer and our tone of language and the message we supposed to deliver, we did not review the message across properly, or we end up argument. This is why the tone of voice is very important. Using the 4 basics fundamental of Toastmaster. Let me repeat. Listen, think, speak, and do. If we mess up the order, we end up argument, disagreement, as well as misunderstanding. So fellow Toastmaster, wherever you are, for Asia, for Europe, the Americas, and the Oceania, that's Australia. Remember to use these 4 principles in your Toastmaster journey, and I declare the meeting adjourned. We'll see you next Friday.